What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 OK Chapter 101 Sarutobi, do you still want to be Hokage? Jonsong, what did you say to your father, outside of the Uchiha clan? Itachi finally summoned the courage to ask this sentence. Click. Point your finger to your forehead. Itachi looked at each other stupidly, as if asking what Baji meant. Do you really want to know? Baji raised his eyebrows and pressed his head close to his opponent's forehead. The boy under the shirt had a sense of oppression, which made Weasel's head be stunned. Jonsong had just washed his clothes and wanted to give him some clothes, but Jonsong said that the shirt was cool. But he must want to know the content of the conversation. From today onwards, your father won't always sit at home and frown. Look with your eyes, Itachi. Patting his shoulder, Baji smiled. With Itachi's intelligence, you will definitely feel something. What should be done? Baji has done it, and he has tried his best. 30. If Uchiha's problem cannot be changed in this way, he can only use coercive means to eradicate the problem. Your father will not be frowning. Itachi opened his mouth, as if thinking of something. Sword sang. Let's go, practice with me, and take a bath with me at night. Stopping Itachi's thoughts of continuing to speak, Baji pulled his collar and walked out. Why talk too much? A hearty practice is enough, that is the correct way of communication between men. In a blink of an eye, a month passed. The peace in the ninja world still continued. But the weird atmosphere intensified, and pieces of information were passed on to each other between Shinobu Village. The atmosphere of Konoha Village is completely opposite to the outside atmosphere. When the defeated supplies from Cloud Shinobi Village were delivered to Konoha in batches, people's emotions rose to the top. From time to time, I would go to worship under the Wall of Merit to show my respect for Baji, Konoha training ground. After a month of training, the spirits of Anbu's ninjas have reached a peak. Although from the previous 350 people, 300 people have been screened batch after batch. The rest were removed from the battle sequence and became part of other Anbu positions, but they still did not reach Baji's expectations. What he wants is absolute elite. The emergence of such special forces is far from achieving the effect, and it will not give too much shock. In short, the remaining members of Anbu still need to be tempered. But the intensity doesn't need to be that high anymore, otherwise it will stay in this kind of high-intensity elimination system for a long time. It will make their nerves too tense, and I am afraid it will be counterproductive. After the daily practice is over, Baji came to the Hokage office. Konoha will always have a lot of things to deal with during the development period. Minato can count on help, only Yamanaka Keiichi and Nara Shikahisa, the others can't intervene at all. So this month, Minato is really tired, but the whole person's mental state is much better than before. He is the real Hokage now. The things he dealt with were Konoha's development issues, which made him very gratified. The change is going very smoothly, everything is developing in a well-conceived place. This made him very pleased. I didn't expect Thunder Country to be really willing to give up such a large area. Handing the map in his hand to Baji, Minato said with emotion. Most definitely. After scanning the upper area, Baji said calmly. As the nation's strongest fighting force, Shinobu Village has been destroyed, and Thunder Country will bite the bullet. Revolt? Unless Lei Zhiguo's head is flooded, he will never challenge Konoha. But the name of the Country of Fire has also sent someone. With a wry smile, Minato sighed and had a headache. Asking Baji to come over, I also wanted to ask Konoha what kind of attitude should he face the daimyo's messenger, even. To accept orders to send an official responsible for receiving that area, the meaning of daimyo is obvious. They want that place. What does Konoha's spoils have to do with the Fire Country? Baji sneered while sitting on the sofa. He had thought that this kind of thing might happen before. Da Ming is still very interested in such things as Bai Jing's expansion of the territory of the Land of Fire. But the premise is that the daimyo of the Country of Fire did not want to understand why the Thunder Congress did this. Let the area out of the Thunder Country. The name can be seen and understood. Without the help of Shinobu Village, Thunder Country is nothing. It is a pity that the name of the Country of Fire did not have any consciousness. But on the daimyo's side, we can't be too tough. After all, the supplies he gives Konoha every year are very rich. That's where the headache is. The benefits that I've worked so hard to trade with blood, the Country of Fire wants to take away without paying any price. Okay, and that piece of land was won by Baji. He must ask Baji what he meant. Simple. Lifting up the wine gourd, Baji yawned and felt dull. Minato always lacks some flexibility. This kind of thing is not troublesome to deal with. Since he thought that the daimyo might send someone out of his face, he must also think about the countermeasures. Alright. It's okay for the daimyo to want that piece of land, and it doesn't work. When people are here, they can't let them go back empty-handed. Standing up, Baji said something that puzzled Minato. Konoha has only 2 requirements. Remember that requirements are not conditions for negotiation, requirements that must be met. Reaching out his hand, the boy smiled slightly. First, starting from today, the Country of Fire's funding for Konoha will be reviewed. 3 times. 3 times? Minato was taken aback for a moment and didn't expect Bajian to speak so loudly. I haven't finished it yet. Bajian shrugged. Secondly, Konoha wants 9 for all the benefits that the area gets every month. In one of the rooms, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo in front of him in shock. A piece of dispensable land in exchange for 3 times the supplies, plus the income of that piece of land, it's comparable to simply. We Konoha do not have so many people to manage such a large area, he is willing to accept. Become. It's not that you can't give a big name, but that's the price. Third generation froze forth more. Just now, Danzo said a word to himself, a sentence he didn't expect at all. The land is much more profitable. This is 0.6. Bajian's calculation is still very clear, and in the end his words are threats. Minato from the Naruto office is seeking profit for Konoha, but not too far from the Naruto building. Sarutobi. There's nothing wrong with what Raikage said. What does he mean? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. There is more fierceness than Naruto of the past dynasties. Now do you want to become Hokage again? Accept, if you are not willing to accept. Let him think about why the name of the country of thunder is willing to send the land to the land. Do you understand Konoha to help him think? You deserve it. The method is hard enough, and it can even be said to be a threat on the surface. Chapter 102 this time, I will not let you go crazy. Do you still want to become Hokage again? Do you want to? Slowly restore calm. Sarutobi slowly clicked on his pipe and took a sip. For a long time, he spit out 4 words from his mouth. I thought about it. Ever thought about it? In other words, I don't want to do it now? Frowning, Danzo was a little surprised. According to what he knows about himself as an old man, he is definitely not the kind of person who can easily give up his rights. You should even be jealous of Namikaze Minato, who is now beloved, and the kid called Konoha Kenpachi. But the reaction of the other party is beyond his expectations. Sarutobi didn't lie to Danzo. These 4 words are from the heart. Perhaps before that negotiation, the old man really thought about regaining power, but after that, he had no idea. I'm old. Konoha should rest assured to give it to young people. And I believe Minato can do better. Saying this, Sarutobi raised his head and looked at his old buddy. This is the companion who walked with him all the way, including Utatane Kaharu, Midokado Homura, Uchiha Kagami and Akamichi. They are teammates in the same period and the guards of 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama. The days of performing tasks together have already produced an inseparable bond between each other. Decades have passed. Those old guys have changed, but when it comes to changes, the old man in front of you has changed the most. The 2 Naruto consultants only knew how to enjoy, and could not give any effective help on some major issues. Only Uchiha Kagami, who is dead, is the only one who can really say something in his heart. Utatane Kaharu and Midokado Homura just become vanity. But Danzo, as much as himself, values power more and more. The establishment of the root is wrong. Konoha only has 1 Anbu. Anbu is dark enough, but the roots are darker than Anbu, and that darkness does not belong to Konoha. He never said these words. Perhaps Danzo established the roots at the beginning, and indeed has some credit for Konoha. But as the power increased, Danzo began to act unscrupulously. He thought he couldn't see it, but he just saw it and didn't say anything. Including Danzo's collaboration with Orochimaru, he can open one eye and close the other. These days Sarutobi thinks a lot in his home. Looking back at what he said, I thought I was not at fault, but it was also as Bajian described it. Can't write one thing that can be put on the wall of merit. For Konoha, he thought he did his best, but mediocrity is also a fact. The position of Naruto has been handed over to Minato, and Sarutobi has gradually let go of his desire to control power. Only the wall that records the merits is his only regret. If he can, he will find a meaningful thing to do for the rest of his life, intending to make up for this regret. This is his only thought. Understood. Sehara staring at Sarutobi's face for a full minute. Danzo seemed to want to find the flaw in the hypocrisy. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. This time, the old man he thought he knew was beyond his expectations. Stand up. Danzo walks out. Danzo, I advise you not to do anything. I have already abdicated. Now Konoha's Hokage is Minato. Sarutobi's voice followed. The warning in the words meant that Danzo heard it clearly. There is no doubt that Danzo came to him today with a purpose. And when he opened his mouth, he asked if he wanted to become Hokage again. What is he going to do? Sarutobi doesn't know, but it's definitely not a good thing. Just like Danzo enumerates his unseen deeds, and those things are probably the same. Nature. The so-called root person has no name, no feelings, no past and no future. There is only a task in his heart. The one who supports Konoha behind the big tree is deep in the earth. I will wait for the roots. Without answering Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Danzo murmured. Konoha has completely exceeded his control, and the rescue can only be on the right track. Contemporary Hokage and that little boy. The idea of ghosts is completely wrong. As a root, we need to eradicate all threats. Turning around without any hesitation, Danzo has left Sarutobi Hiruzen's home, leaving only Sarutobi alone. Sitting there blankly, Once, you told me the same. But what you did is not this, Danzo. This time, I won't let you go crazy. I'm a little slack. Coming out of the Hokage office, Baji glanced at his system panel casually, a little helpless. It's not that the daily task of swinging the knife is slack. It was the sudden task, which he hadn't completed until now. Originally, his plan was to train Anbu in special, select the elite of the elite and lead them to completely remove the nails in the land of fire, sweeping the border to show the momentum of this force. At that time, he can continue to harvest his life and directly liberate his Zanpakuto to become the real Shinigami. But now he finds himself a bit whimsical. Even the elite talents are limited. After all, this is a world of fighting fathers. Some people's strength can change qualitatively after turning on Mangekyo, and they can reach cage-level strength when they open up. But some people are only a chunin in their poor life. Although his special training method is very effective, it will take at least 1 month to achieve the effect he wants. So this task can only wait, but the speed of the Anbu ninjas is not what Baji cares about. As time piles up, the quality will keep up. Now he only pays attention to one thing. Nine Tails Chaos, only 1 month left. A sharp glow flashed in his eyes, and Bajian's figure disappeared instantly. I really didn't expect you to be able to enter Anbu. On the familiar roof of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato's house, Kakashi reluctantly looked at the signature piece of hair. No matter what kind of mask he uses, he said that the kind of rare animal temperament guy said. Yes. 420 guy enters Anbu. Who can think of this? Just kidding, his character is only suitable for open attack, and this kind of errand hidden in the dark is really not suitable for Guy's character. This is also reflected in the original work. Seeing that Kakashi was a little dark in his heart, as his friend, Might Guy did not hesitate to apply to 3rd generation to enter Anbu but was rejected. The puzzled King Guy wanted to join the Roots when he was passing by Danzo. Directly treated as a second force by Danzo, you don't have enough darkness in your heart. This is the explanation given by Danzo. Really, the thinking of Gen Beast is never comparable to others. Just as he was sitting upside down and training with one hand, and then asked Kakashi if he wanted to try. Big brother. We are performing tasks. Itachi and Shisui, who looked like they wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh, had to adapt to the arrival of new members for a while. Whoosh! A figure landed on the roof. It was Baji coming out of the Hokage building. Look around. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Shisui, Hitaki Kakashi, and Might Guy, plus myself, a total of 5 people. From now on, Uzumaki Kushina's safety will be guarded in shifts 24 hours a day. At this moment, the Night Owl team assembled again. There is only one task. Guard the safety of the tailed Jinchuriki. 5th more. Recommend a good friend a daily Hokage. Hinata is my child's wife. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 103 I want to see Nine Tails. Uzumaki Kushina. Now she is not only Hokage's wife, but Nine Tails Jinchuriki. It is also his wife of Yi Bajian. Since Minato had promised to be Naruto's brother, he would never allow this careless woman to have problems. Of course, apart from this, everything was doomed when Minato stood in front of him at Anbu's door. Exclusive escort mission for the Night Owl squad. As night fell, Minato still worked tirelessly in the Hokage office. On the roof of Minato's house, several hidden figures are already in working condition. The elite level of this team is beyond ordinary people's imagination. Therefore, no one will be able to spot them without careful observation. Come down for dinner. Unfortunately, the sound from the balcony made several people jump out helplessly. Row. Sure enough, it was hidden. Even the mentally retarded would know that there was an ambush here after shouting in this voice. More importantly, the words Uzumaki Kushina shouted changed the expressions of everyone except Bajian and Guy. Have dinner? Stop joking, okay. Compared with those terrible foods, they would rather eat soldiers' grain pills. Unfortunately, when Kushina tried to jump on the roof with her big belly, they could only go down and walk into the room trembling. Don't think that the pregnant woman in front of you is an ordinary pregnant woman. She really dared to do this exercise from the balcony to the roof. Naruto's carefree character is probably inherited from Kushina. Of course, she didn't just follow her temper. After all, she is a mother now, and no mother wants her child to have an accident. It's only because of the strength of the people above that she can catch her even if she doesn't jump well. No one can guarantee that the kind of accident in Bajian will never happen. When a few people were sitting around the dining table, things that surprised them went awkward. In front of them, there was a bowl of steaming soup that looked pretty good. I don't know what ingredients, it looks like it should be okay anyway. Since it is Mr. Kushina's treat, then I'm not welcome. Guy, who performed the Anbu mission for the first time, was already hungry, and things like Binglang pills were not as delicious as this bowl of soup. Brother. Kakashi next to him stretched out his hand and looked cautious. Looking at his nervous look, it was obvious that things were not that simple. What are you doing? Guy was stunned. Grunt. And just as the two exchanged their eyes with tacit understanding, Bajian next to him had already picked up his own bowl and poured it into his stomach resolutely. Not bad. Wiping his mouth, Bajian nodded at Kushina politely. Regardless of the taste, Kushina has a big belly but they don't think about it. This bowl of soup has to be drunk anyway. And his stomach has been trained by Anko since he was young, so he is not afraid of such threats at all. In fact, Baji thinks that Kushina's food is much better than Anko's. As expected of you, Captain Owl is like a man, so you have to drink soup like that. Unidentified guy stretched out his thumb at Baji, then ignoring Kakashi's column and held up his bowl of soup. Grunt. When the magical liquid entered his stomach, Guy's expression changed. The face that had never been discouraged before turned green first, and then the whole person's breathing seemed to have stopped flat and began to tremble. Then the green on his face was stained with purple, and a few tears at the corner of his eyes were completely shed. Man, have to bear it. Just when Guy was not staying, Baji calmly drank a bowl. Awesome Guy stretched out his thumb again and gestured to Baji, then slammed his chest with his head. The purple on my face has turned into iron blue. Obviously, he was enduring the torment that ordinary people could not bear. Shaking his head, Baji didn't bother to toss Guy. Maybe eating this kind of food is very hard for them, but it is also a way of experience. Imagine that they encountered special circumstances during the mission. In order to survive without any food, they might eat something 100 times more unpalatable. You die if you don't eat. How do you choose? There is nothing wrong with using Kushina's food to exercise this will. But there needs to be enough. Standing up, Baji pulled Kushina's sleeve. Madam, I want to see 9 tails. Baji would not say the words mother or father. But this did not delay him from enjoying the feeling brought by this kind of affection. 9 tails? Kushina was stunned. What is Baji going to do? What's so nice about 9 tails, that kind of thing? However, as Minato's wife, Kushina understands that Minato treats Baji as his own child, and even Naruto makes him the brother of Naruto before he is a cow. This is a kind of heartwarming approval, and since the first time Baji's guard was by her side, she has also recognized Baji's existence. He wouldn't hurt himself, Kushina believed it. Is it possible that he wants to strengthen the seal for himself? Bai Naruto will be out soon, the seal in her body will be very fragile. Nodding, Kushina took Baji into the room inside. Vomit when you want to, otherwise it will be too late when Shao and Madam come back. Kakashi saw the right time and pulled Guy to the balcony. Obviously he could see that Guy was experiencing more terrible sequelae than opening 8 inner gates. Similar to the sealed space inside Naruto, but it's a little different. Looking at 9 tails, who was entangled with golden chains in front of him, Baji touched his chin. This is a diamond seal. It can be seen that Kushina has tried her best to strengthen the seal in order to get Naruto smoothly. It seems that when Sage of 6 Paths divided chakra, it was a little distracted, or it was a preference. So it may cause 9 tails to be a little too powerful as a whole tail beast, even when the tail is transformed into a beast. Other tail beasts are different. Of course, this may also be because Naruto was originally Ashura reincarnated before turning on the golden body mode. It's miserable. The instinct of the dreaded beast tells it that the kid in front of him has the real ability to make it die. I didn't see myself struggling fiercely as usual. 9 tails' eyes had a strong killing intent and... I'm sorry, my reader, today I said it's an explosion, but my stomach is not up to date. Boy. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. If others, lead is, turn on the 9 tails chakra mode, it's not that strong. Now, it's 9 tails. Raise your head slowly. This kid, what is he going to do? It's real death. I'm completely out of strength, I have to go to rape. Bajian's eyes met the big pupils. Kushina stood by and pointed to the locked tail beast and said, it's not the kind of death that can be recovered slowly after death. 6th more. And its next sentence completely stunned 9 tails. Put it down first, madam. Chapter 104 Kurama's Doubts, the same breath of beast. Do you want to unlock adamantine sealing chains? This is 9 tails, a tail beast full of hatred. Kushina opened her mouth, but met Bajian's reassuring look. Rest assured, it will not move. If it is not honest, the consequences will be very serious. Bajian shook his head and walked straight to Kurama, looking at each other seriously. What do you mean, Llama? No one likes to be tied up, and the tail beast is no exception. That taste is not good. This kid. The eyes in 9 tails beast pupils flickered, as if thinking about something. How did a kid know this uncle's name? He didn't have the breath of the old 6 Paths man, and he didn't belong to his descendants. Also, is it really not afraid of my uncle being slapped to death without a chain? I don't know what Bajian is going to do, but for the sake of safety, Kushina retreated to a distance and raised her hand. After the golden chain disappeared, 9 tails did not launch an attack, but looked at Bajian vigilantly. Just rely on the breath of death in this little devil at the beginning. 9 tails understands that this is a person who can really kill himself. The vigilance in his eyes is even stronger. That was the kind of vigilance that I didn't have when facing Uchiha Madara. For Uchiha Madara, who controls herself, 9 tails has only 043 anger in her heart. This is the instinctive fear of the animal tendency. Don't be nervous, I just want to talk to you. Bajian shook his head and strode to the sharp claws. Jinchuriki has a way to bring others into the sealed space in the body, but what really enters is only a trace of spiritual energy with a soul. So even if Nine Tails takes the shot, he won't really be hurt. The pupils gradually shrank, as the needle-light instinct gradually called out. At this moment, Nine Tails looked at Bajian as if he saw the same kind. If Sepang communicates with you in this way, you will feel at ease. Holding his shoulders, Bajian leapt slightly and jumped onto the bridge of Nine Tails' nose to look at each other. Kind of weird the uncle didn't even throw him off. Squinting, Kurama's eyes still had a deep unbelief. Since leaving Sage of Six Paths, its life has not been good. As a fox who likes freedom, the days of being sealed can only be described as suffering. People use it as a tool, but they don't know that the tail beast has the same emotions as humans. After two very similar pin-shaped pupils looked at each other for a full minute, Nine Tails finally spoke.
Boy, you shouldn't be a human being. On his body, he possesses the same wildness and animality as the beast. That's not something that humans should have. So, we can have a chat from a peer-to-peer perspective. Bajian stretched out his hand and hesitated, and finally nodded at Kurama's head. For the first time, this action felt a little strange to the tail beast. I'm probably going to be crazy if Itachi sees it. What is this posture? Small. Kurama's fox tail shook his face in doubt. Whether it's a human or a wild, you always feel that something is not right. This uncle is not your dog. Overflowing compassion. Not really. When I came to Nine Tails this time, Bajian had his own plan. In the original book, why did Naruto have such a childhood? The chaos of Nine Tails. This is the most fundamental reason. The people regard Naruto as the Nine Tails that causes cholera. But there is one thing Bajian is quite puzzled. The villagers only know that Naruto has 9 tails in his body, which is 9 tails Jinchuriki. But as the hero who saved the village, the identity of 4th Hokage's son was unknown. The explanation given by Minato later is that 3rd generation wants to protect Naruto. There will be many enemies. But in Bajian's view, the two sons of 9 tails Jinchuriki and 4th generation are clearly identified as the former. Attractive. So why did you just release the news that Naruto is 9 tails Jinchuriki but keep the information of the son of hero? It's weird. But there is no need to analyze it carefully. Sooner or later, AEDF will take care of Konoha's high-level affairs. He came to find 9 tails today. Put an end to the idea that people hate Jinchuriki. He wants to eliminate all possible potential threats. This village has changed. Although Bajian vowed not to let Obito move Kushina, he still needs to take precautions. 9 tails in the original book was not very mad at first. Only after Minato defeated Obito, the illusion on 9 tails was also lifted. Daihatsu's 9 tails started an indiscriminate attack. The disaster came. Who is more irritable, the controlled tail beast or the uncontrolled tail beast? Bajian chose the latter. You don't want to be locked up like this all the time. At least there is no time to go out and let the wind go. Sitting on the llama's nose, Bajian touched his waist, but the wine gourd was not brought in and poured. Can't ask 9 tails for 2 drinks. What do you mean? The color of doubt in 9 tails' eyes became stronger. Free. Who doesn't want to be free? One level lasts for decades, and I can only watch what Jinchuriki sees all day. No one likes the feeling of being restrained. Trust is mutual. I just believed you once, so you also believed me once. Bajian let out a breath and suddenly felt a little dull. Sure enough, he was not Naruto after all, and it was impossible for the tail beast to return to his heart with a few words. It's never possible to say something to 9 tails' big eyes, and one day it's going to resolve the other's heart. Hatred inside. It's a forced mouth escape. In the original book, Bajian didn't look happy, and he didn't even say it by himself. Pragmatism is the most important thing. Humans, don't think that a few words can make this uncle believe you. Sure enough, Kurama still stared at Bajian coldly. It is not so easy to gain its trust. I only tell you once. Bajian shook his head. If there is an accident, I mean an accident. You can relax, squat on the ground honestly, don't mess with me and dare to put the tail beast on this village. I will smash your head. Quote. The right hand gestured a pistol fire posture. Bajian's needle-like pupils returned to their original shape. Relatively, if you abide by the agreement, you will be given the opportunity to come out for free activities in the future. Standing up, Bajian jumped from 9 tails. For him who owns the system, this kind of thing is not difficult, it just costs some system points to exchange points. That's all about the props. And it always feels good to use 9 tails to take care of the nursing home. Especially with a little bit of the power tail, it will look like a child, and it should be very comfortable to wear. That's right. The boy who walked towards Kushina suddenly turned around and looked at Kurama, who was from Shinigami's Reiatsu Shun. Suddenly, I loosened your chains, but don't toss my wife. The first is more. Karma recommends a book to an old friend. At this moment, there are 3 days left to molest Nuwa. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 105 Shadows Consciousness. I have been waiting for you for a long time, Danzo. Dinner is full of warmth. Guy, who had vomited back and forth several times, also adapted to the fear caused by this kind of food. The atmosphere at 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato's home remains the same. In the Hokage building, which is not too far away, Minato looked at the old man in front of him with surprise. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha 3rd Hokage. He came here when he was about to finish processing things and go home. But this time, he didn't make Minato feel any embarrassment. And what he said made Minato a little bit emotional. All the time, I haven't made much contribution to Konoha. This time I hope to protect this village. He didn't light the pipe but held the pipe in his hand and stood there quietly looking at Minato. This Hokage he promoted. He came after all. His eyes firmly said what he wanted to say. When the last Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Mito gave birth, the seal on Nine-Tails was extremely weak. That time, Nine-Tails almost broke the seal and caused disaster. With memories in his eyes, 3rd generation continued. So Minato, this time I hope to join the defense work of the village. Although I am old, this is not the reason why I let go of my responsibility to protect Konoha. Is it okay? There was a little request in the words. It's completely different from 4th generation's previous impression of the arbitrary 3rd generation. What did this old man post? Keen intuition tells Minato what is going to happen to Zipping. Master 3rd generation. Frowning, little son wants to ask something. But Sarutobi just shook his head. Don't ask me or I don't know, you should be intuition or something else. The old man just wants to use his last life to do something meaningful, and use actions to tell the guy who is very opinionated about me. The former 3rd Hokage is not useless. After all, the inscription on Will of Fire was written by the old man. Turning around and walking towards the office door, Sarutobi's back is not tall but he has a lot of courage. Old man, but Konoha's 3rd Hokage. Close the door and leave. Only Minato was left in the office, standing next to his desk. After standing there for a few minutes, little son smiled. Tell that guy, isn't that young man Bajian? But. Master 3rd generation, you have also changed. The dim candle wiggled slightly. Konoha, a remote room on the edge. The space was surging, and a figure slowly descended in the whirlpool-shaped space. The old man sitting in the middle of the room seemed to be used to this situation, but raised his head slightly. Glanced at him. The man in front of him wears a mask and calls himself Uchiha Madara. Although it's not the first time to contact each other, Danzo still feels disdainful of this title until now. Uchiha Madara. That person will never hide himself and walk in the dark. It's almost there. Under the mask, there was a husky voice in the gloom. Imitator Madara's tone, Obito is Madara's heir. Until the tearing mask was created in his world. I'm curious, how do you move them? Danzo squinted, as if he wanted to see something from the Sharingan that the other party could only see. His stuff. Natail and Nine-Tails, and what you got before Konoha. Obito said, although the tone seemed to be an understatement, Danzo still heard a little sarcasm. It seems that this calculation of others will bring him a strong sense of satisfaction. Yes, with only these two things, outsiders' ideas will be outrageous. Pity. They can't get it. The color of mockery in Obito's eyes is even stronger. Even if it's Shimura Danzo, who wants to take this opportunity to become a new Naruto old man, it's not. If it was the object of his calculation, it was not so, and he would not actively find the other party. The role of the inside is also very important. I need specific time. After a long silence, Obito took a deep breath and spoke again. October 10th. Danzo's chest rose and fell slightly, his eyes gleaming. Well, after that day you will be Konoha's 5th Hokage. Space Uzumaki surged again, Obito's body was hidden in the dark. 5th Hokage. Finally, the desire and ambition in his eyes could no longer be suppressed. Standing up and leaving the room, he walked from the end of Konoha's street to the end in the dark. His gaze stretched from the ground to the Hokage rock above his head. Danzo raised his hand slightly and pinched it to death. After a long time, he calmed down and walked towards his root entrance. Roots. That is his own organization. Dissolution is impossible. He has countless ways to hide those who belong to the dark. Deeper. As always, the base was deserted, and it looked like it had been abandoned. But in fact Danzo is used to controlling Konoha every day in his room. Only now, there are 2 stools at the entrance. Shogi is already on the small table in the middle of the stool. Put it away. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Danzo. Sitting on a stool smoking a cigarette, Sarutobi has a smile on his face. You shouldn't be here, drink tea at home or go fishing by the river, that's how you should live. I will not sit here as boring as you to play chess with you, you should understand, Sarutobi. Danzo frowned and didn't sit up. Then I will use the identity of 3rd Hokage to order you once. The smile on his face slowly disappeared. Sarutobi knocked the ashes in the pipe clean, then looked at each other firmly. From now on until Kushina is produced, you are not allowed to go anywhere. This is my order from Sarutobi Hiruzen Konoha's 3rd Hokage to you. You are not allowed to go anywhere. Order from Hokage. From when Danzo left his home until just now, Sarutobi thought about countless possibilities. He asked himself if he still wanted to be Hokage, he would definitely act abnormally. That's not for Konoha, but for your own Naruto. Guarding Konoha has never been this way. So now, Sarutobi is here. In his own way, control the old man on the edge of the cliff. From Sarutobi's point of view, he is saving Danzo from the first ninja war to now. Comrades in arms. No matter what Danzo thinks, he will never back down this time. Sarutobi, you are not Naruto anymore. Danzo, who has been suppressed by the Hokage name for a lifetime, has already had endless aversion to this sentence. Whenever the moment of arguing comes, he will carry the name of Hokage. There was a rebuttal, but in the end, Danzo sat down opposite Sarutobi. There is only one reason. At that moment, he seemed to feel the difference in Sarutobi. He's changed. If he disagrees, Sarutobi will really turn his face. He even made public his potential threats. He cannot bet. The fierce shogi game has begun. The second is more. Recommend a good friend a book fantasy. Me. Destiny Opposition. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 106 October 10th, Nine Tails, Naruto, Konoha. Haha, you didn't see it, how honest was when I saw Bajian at the end. Minato's home. The few people who had finally eaten dinner sat on the sofa properly. And Kushina laughed out of breath, obviously she was in a pretty good mood. To be honest, she didn't talk to Nine Tails. But basically every time there is no good result. Nine Tails, who was so well behaved this time, opened her eyes. Bajian was so open and eating only 1/3 of the apples cut by Kushina. The atmosphere in the room is nice. However, after the young man took a bite of the apple, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. There is no problem with the taste of apples. The problem is that the strange wave of Reiatsu caught his attention. The familiar Reiatsu can no longer be familiar. The grief and despair hidden deep in the soul also smeared the appearance of anger, 553, anger and resentment, and a touch of inferiority that was hardly felt. This kind of soul fluctuation is possessed by only one person in the world. No matter how you hide the smell from the soul, it will be caught by the keen Shinigami. Bajian, who activates the two templates, already knows who he is. Uchiha Obito. He came. It didn't take long for him to leave again, otherwise Bajian had already rushed out with a knife at the moment. Kamui. That kind of space ninjutsu, only the corresponding powerful moves that can tear the space can play a role. Only one trick. But if it were used in Konoha, the village would be ruined. With his eyes flickering, Bajian put the whole apple han into his mouth, biting fiercely, as if Ping Na apple has become Obito himself. Except for Obito, and Danzo and third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now the two old men seem to get together. What are they doing? He swallowed the remaining apple in his mouth and watched Kushina go back to the room to rest. The boy took a deep breath. Yi Xiao. When these two words were shouted, several members of the team rushed to Bajian and put on masks. This is the meaning of collection. So serious, it shows that Xiao Xiao has entered a state of fighting. Kakashi, Guy. From now on, Anbu training is suspended. You alone lead 100 Anbu ninjas to hide on both sides of the village. You decide how to deploy and divide labor. Only one thing, when you see a suspicious target, you shoot directly. Also Itachi, you go and tell your father that the interval between patrols by the Uchiha guard is shortening by 5 minutes. Bring a word. The Uchiha clan, it's time to show their attitude. After 2 consecutive orders, Bajian finally fixed his gaze on Shisui. It's me. Taking a deep breath, Shisui was a little nervous. The two old guys in the root department, you need to monitor each other for 24 hours, but if you have any special actions, directly report to me. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. If it's too late, just kill them. The second point, if there is an accident, your Susanoo can play the best role. Susanoo. Shisui was visibly stunned. He didn't say anything about his Mangekyo Sharingan. It wasn't that he wanted to deliberately conceal it, but he understood how much his Wanwa ability would affect him. If he can, he won't even want to use distinguished heavenly gods for the rest of his life. But Bajian actually knew. Understood. But it was obviously not the time to be stunned, and nodded to Bajian. Shisui's figure disappeared into the room. The team members all left with the mission. As for Kushina's safety, he is personally responsible. Zanpakuto fell into his hands, and Bajian walked to the balcony. Facing the knight in front of him, he raised his long knife and dropped it gently. Only when he swings the knife, he becomes unusually calm, and thinking when swinging the knife becomes a habit. The ordinary and unremarkable swing of the sword not only enhances the strength, but also the state of mind. The long night began. Tenten passed. The atmosphere in Konoha village became serious. Just watching the patrol united by the Uchiha and Hyuga clan pass by again and again, even ordinary. The common people know that they can't cause trouble recently and stay at home peacefully. This day, October 10th. Just early in the morning, Kushina felt unwell and was taken to Konoha Hospital by Bajian and Minato. Waiting in the specially prepared delivery room. The child in the belly is tossing her. The restless Naruto also seems to know what is about to be released. The 9 tails in Kushina's body is extremely safe. Don't cry or make trouble. Even breathed out. Cut. Women are just kids. Nothing good. What it remembers is a special picture of the work before the continuation of this great life. Ah, I don't know if what the kid said is true or not. It is boring and wagging its tail. To be honest, it was really going to cause trouble during Kushina production. Even broke the seal. After all, according to its experience, the seal is extremely weak at this time. The same is true for Uzumaki Minato. And Uzumaki Kushina is not as capable as Uzumaki Mito. If it is full of noise, there will definitely be a chance, but what if it goes out? That kid said, smash your head if you dare to make trouble. If others say this, I'm afraid Kurama will go straight up and take a bite of tailed beast bomb to let that person understand that my uncle is not good. But that kid alone, I can't stop him when I go out. Hypocritical humans. Harm, my uncle will believe you once. There is no other way anyway. But what was the accident that the kid said? Kurama squinted with a face full of incomprehension. That kid is here, what can be the surprise? Since there is no accident, as long as he keeps his promise, what should my uncle eat after going out? I have been listening to the girl Kushina saying that the 3-color meatballs are delicious. I really want to taste it. Thinking about it, Tsunade's Kurama had tears on the corner of his mouth. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Minato would have such anxious moments. Outside the delivery room, Baji leaned against the wall. And the Minato in front of me rushes from here to there like an ant on a hot pan. When Bai was a father for the first time, Kushina's painful voice 1.7 pitched from time to time. Tension is also inevitable. The person in charge of picking up the cows is still the experienced Sarutobi Lake Biwa in this regard. Third Hokage's old. The lady is quite experienced. Scratching his head awkwardly, Minato has a hint of worry on his face. Every mother is great. Konoha did not have the conditions for a caesarean section, and Uncle Snake did not study the technique on this side, so it was painful. The degree is not what ordinary people can imagine. The wait has been going on for a long time. Bajian embraced Zanpakuto and closed his eyes, feeling the changing situation of Reiatsu in Konoha village all the time. Suddenly, the boy opened his eyes and looked in one direction. Then a figure rushed in front of him. He is one of the members of Anbu, codenamed Lai. Hyuga branch house sent to Jonin in Anbu. Third more. Code Ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 107. You can always trust Konoha Kenpachi. Master 4th Generation, Master Minister. Hundreds of ninja troops in unknown ninja village were found on the east side of Konoha. Kakashi Senpai has already led Anbu ninja to go. Lai said solemnly, it's coming. Bajian sneered. To be honest, he thought that the possible accident would be inside the village, but he didn't expect Obito to use this kind of sneak attack. One wave has not settled and one wave has risen again. Lai just went down, and new information was sent again. Master Naruto. An unknown enemy appeared on the north side of Konoha. Report. A large number of unknown enemies also appeared on the south side. Report that the Uchiha family patrol on the east side has started fighting with the enemy. When the ninja responsible for the emissaries appeared one after another, Minato's inner anxiety deepened. Bajian, leave it to you here. I will deal with those enemies. As Hokage, he should appear in a war chaotic place at this time. Although the wife needs escort during childbirth, the role of the shadow is like this. When the village is in danger, it must stand up. And there is his most trusted disciple here, he believes that there will be no problems. But when 04 Minato wanted to leave, Bajian suddenly took his hand. Even though the role of the shadow is important, you remember the teacher. You are more of a father. A husband. The family is not well protected, so what are you talking about protecting the village? Shaking his head, Bajian fought up and walked out. Also, you have to trust your subordinates. Each of them has the courage to sacrifice for Konoha. Stay well here with madam, everything has me. Once, when I appeared at the exit of Anbu, only you stood by my side. Tilting his head, Bajian smiled brightly, you trust me thousands, and I will return your brand new Konoha. After today, Konoha will undergo earth-shaking changes. And, Ms. Minato, remember what I said to you. You can always believe in Konoha Kenpachi. Wait for my news. Sarutobi. At the entrance of the root base, 2 old men were still staring at Shogi in a daze. The shouts of killing from outside the village shook the sky, and the smile on Danzo's face became thicker. Are you still in the mood to play chess? You, third Hokage, don't protect the villagers. The plan has already begun. When the first chess piece on the board fell, he seemed to have seen the end. He won this game after all. What if it is watched by Sarutobi? He had already arranged everything. What the hell did you do? The hand holding the chess piece trembled, and Sarutobi's face was blue. I didn't do anything, I just reformulated Konoha's order to get this village back on track. Danzo said lightly, I'm about to succeed, since you don't want to be Hokage, then I will do it myself. The chess pieces fell heavily. The situation on the chessboard has changed dramatically. The momentum of the two of them was high and low, but they did not know that their actions were all in the dark. Between the eyes. That is a pair of chic Mangekyo. Raging. The villagers stared at everything in panic. But what made them feel at ease was that none of Konoha's guarding ninjas flinched, stepping forward to rush out of the village to resist the enemy. And in the courtyard of Mitarashi's house in the heart of Konoha village, Mitarashi Anko, Kurenai Yuhi and the well-behaved little cat are sitting together. Bajian had already ordered, this time there was no need to join the war. In fact, the strongest of the three girls is the two from Wooden Golem. Such strength will not bring much help when going out. At this moment, they are getting together and waiting for the war to subside. The atmosphere is a bit tense, the girls have concerns in their eyes and no one speaks. Suddenly, seeing that there was something wrong, Wooden Golem looked towards the door. A figure slowly fell. Two Tails. With a hoarse voice wearing a mask, there is always a strong emphasis on him. Uchiha Obito. He appeared. But his goal is impressively too by Wooden Golem. The fighting outside the village continues, but for Obito, it's just a way to attract attention. Two Tails and Tails are his real goals. It's coming. But when the girls looked at each other warily, the boy with a knife slowly walked out of the room. Came out. At this moment, several people's eyes were placed on him at the same time. Yi Bajian. He was there. Hee. Yes, I know my goal. But after seeing Bajian, Obito didn't feel any shock. Instead, he hugged his shoulders and laughed. What are you laughing at? Yi Bajian carried the knife with sarcasm on his face. I'm here just to test if you really see through my thoughts. You are not here, I will take the second tail. You are here, it means there is only one fourth Hokage in Uzumaki Kushina. Only one. Obito of Sharingan stretched out his finger to Bajian, looking at your teacher with his own eyes. Your loved one died in Konoha, but there is nothing he can do about it. Quote. Boom. With a puff of smoke, Obito in front of him disappeared without a trace with a bang. It's Shadow Clone. Shocked by Wooden Golem. Sister, take them to Konoha Refuge. Bajian was unmoved, and calmly ordered to walk out. Only you Wooden Golem, who was closer, heard something righteously in his mouth. He thought he was very smart. Sorry, Obito, I'm also Shadow Clone, and the body is not prepared for you there. Wrong package. Quote. Yi Bajian in front of him is also Shadow Clone, but his clone is enough to help 290 deal with the war outside the village. Obito thought he had calculated everything, but didn't know how thoroughly Bajian knew him. 2 Tails and 9 Tails. Both are the goals of Akatsuki. Although the tail beasts have to be sealed to the ghetto statue one by one in order, one tail is not that difficult to obtain, so one of his goals must be the second tail. What Bajian didn't expect was that Obito, who was just a clone, actually thought it was him who was here in the 9 Tails chaos because of his existence. But any problems that may arise have already been counted by Bajian. At the moment he left, Obito had already lost. Konoha has been surrounded by enemies. What surprised the villagers who were evacuating was that the patriarch of the Uchiha clan led the clan, rushing out of the village without hesitation. Clan people, the glorious moment of belonging to the Uchiha clan has arrived. Others only know that the Senju clan is the founder of Konoha, but we Uchiha have been forgotten. Let the gang smash and see the peak combat effectiveness of the strongest clan during the Sengoku period. Fugaku's roar spread around, and people were shocked to find a dark skeleton from the man. Rise slowly. The next moment, a high-pitched word echoed in the air. Kill. The village is now guarded by the arrogant and outrageous Uchiha clan. They stand up. Fourth more. Code Ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 108 The Roaring Nine Tails, the Sero of the Sword that Tears Space. Father. Following Fugaku, Itachi is stubbornly kunai. It was the first time I saw him so sturdy. That stern father really considers himself a part of Konoha. Not just the patriarch of a clan. Now he brought the temperament of the Uchiha clan to charge into battle, which made Itachi deeply moved. Jien sang. What did you say to your father? I am more curious now. All the Uchiha clan, except the children and the elderly, moved to the evacuation shelter. Such a united family has no contradictory opinions. He really saw it for the first time. Sword Mulberry, the new shoots of Konoha are reviving. I've seen it, ever since Jianzhang yelled the 4 words first ninja village in the square. The sleeping Konoha has awakened. Not only the Uchiha clan, but the Hyuga clan, Ino Shikacho and those small groups have spontaneously formed teams and rushed out of the village. Behind them is something they must guard. Such Konoha. Such a village. Fight like this. Short of breath, following his father's footsteps, Itachi rushed forward without hesitation. Jien sang. I have been following the light, never stopping. Until, become the shadow of light. Outside Konoha Hospital. Outside the special delivery room, Minato was distraught. But Bajian's words gave him enough confidence. He said that his credit will be exchanged for a brand new Konoha. Minato believes what he said, and he will do it. As time passed, the anxious Minato still hovered at the door of the delivery room. A bright cry of the baby came straight, and the anxiety on his face turned into surprise and excitement. He opened the door and stood at the door, his gaze looked over. The frail Kushina is holding the baby and looking fascinated. I am a father. Every young father seems to experience all this. Excited, he wanted to rush to Kushina's side, look at the new cow, and see his own son. But suddenly a shadow appeared behind instantly. Uchiha Obito. He came here with full of anger and resentment. The birth of a new life cow cannot erase the pain in his heart. Such a false world has never been recognized by him. He wants revenge. Revenge on the world that made him miserable. In just an instant, Minato and Kushina met the masked face. Sudden burst of pupil power. With just one breath, Kushina's eyes suddenly became confused, and then fainted. Mangekyo's illusion is so caught off guard. Hollow's Kamui made it easy for him to pass through Minato's bar at the door, and instantly grabbed at that still infant baby. And it's too late for the nearby Sarutobi Lake Biwa to block the fence. She doesn't have that strength either. It's just a matter of time. The cold light of sword light and kunai made Obito hollow again to avoid the attack. Waiting for you for a long time. A figure descended from the sky and picked up a knife and slashed towards Obito, but he never left. Waiting for the opportunity to kill Obito in seconds. Unfortunately, the opponent still reacted and opened Kamui. Who are you? Minato, who successfully caught his wife and children, looked at each other warily. You do not know me. Obito looked at Minato coldly. Minato frowned, and Sharingan, who looked at the other party, suddenly thought of something. You are Uchiha Madara. Sure enough, even if I stood in front of you, I still didn't recognize me. Yes, I am standing in front of you, but I am no longer the boy I used to be. Obito smiled, oozing. Yes, my name, Uchiha Madara. At this moment, the last hope in his heart also disappeared. Such a world is disgusting. Knife light flashed. Only that's what you can do. Turning his head with a sneer, Obito looked at Bajian and asked. Zanpakuto's attack failed again, although it was a bit surprised that Bajian was still here, but Obito. There is too much time to analyze. Destroy it. Konoha reached out and quickly formed seals. Summoning technique. Roar. At this moment, Konoha's roar resounded through the sky. A huge body appeared out of thin air. In the end, 9 tails broke out. Roaring, it rushed to the crowded places in Konoha village in a controlled state. Mangekyo's illusion tail beast is irresistible, and Bajian has nothing to do with illusion. He doesn't have Aizen's template, so it's impossible to say something like Kyoka Suigetsu. Bajian knows this very well, so he only found 9 tails before and kindly reminded him something. What should not be done? The current 9 tails is under control, and there is still some distance from the center. What he has to do is to solve Obito's illusion when 9 tails rushes to the center of Konoha and wreaks havoc. It is not difficult. He was just preparing for all this. If he can, he will end Obito's life here. What does your pain have to do with this world? The original plan was to attack Naruto directly while Obito was unprepared. Since it failed, it is to use the second plan. Turning his head, Bajian's breath became more unstable. There was even a slight change in the voice of speaking. The bloodshot eyes made Minato extremely worried. Teacher, take Madam and Naruto away. The farther away the better. Don't worry about the end of power. And this charm will be posted on the teacher immediately after returning. Short of breath, Bajian's hands holding the knife are shaking, and a looming one on his chest. Black voids are slowly forming. At the same time, the white mask on Bajian's face is extending from his body. At this moment, the terrifying Reiatsu skyrocketed. Black and gold are intertwined, and there is a devastating chakra. Then the beam of light made Konoha's villagers all raised their heads and looked over. There was only shock left in their hearts. What is this? Why is there a palpitating feeling? Bajian. Taking the spell thrown by the opponent, Minato looked at it. The lines on the top can't be seen clearly, only a fairy character is particularly conspicuous. Fairy Talisman. A magical item that can be resurrected by the dying person, which can replenish the wasted vitality. The system mall sells for 1500 flat points. Before Kushina entered the delivery room, Bajian had prepared it in advance to prevent unexpected needs. What is this? Open your mouth, what Minato was about to say, but recalled a sentence that Bajian said before. You can always believe in Konoha Kenpachi. Taking a look at 9 tails rushing towards the center of the village, Minato gritted his teeth and disappeared in place. The village is in danger. Although I don't know what you are doing, but you can't attack me by yourself. Obito watched Bajian's changes coldly. Although he was already worried about the horror of the young man in front of him, he did not. Not afraid. With Kamui, what about the strongest attack? But what is the horrible mask on his face and the pothole in his chest? Hey. The breath gradually stabilized. But this space next to Konoha Hospital has become extremely depressing. Fortunately, the villagers have been successfully transferred before the start, otherwise ordinary people will be in this depressed atmosphere. It is absolutely unbearable. With a soft shout, a huge pair of skeletons slowly condensed on Bajian's original Zanpakuto. Quasi-Obito. What? Obito frowned and faintly had a different premonition. He tried it, and suddenly found his god. Wei lost its effect. The surrounding space becomes extremely unstable. Nothing. I just want you to try it. Quote. Platching after Laoziization. Space shocks. Gathering all of Bajian's Reiatsu's swords, Sero shoots a black-red light under a flat cut. This moment, Zhou Wei's space collapsed instantly. Annihilation strikes. After the virtual white template was unlocked 15%, the King Sero light came to a world that shouldn't have appeared. 5th. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 109 Kurama. Who dares to touch this uncle? The sky is falling. Do not. After gathering all the Reiatsu of Yi Bajian into a flash attack. Everything in front of me was wiped out. The Konoha hospital behind itself, until the dense forest on the outskirts of Konoha, all disappeared. This is his strongest blow. The real destructive power. A knife that consumes all the energy used. From beginning to end, he was preparing for this blow. The ability to mobilize all energy in an instant, he is not yet fully master. First, call instinct to activate the virtual white template. Then the Reiatsu of the evil spirit and the power of Vayne are intertwined. In addition, the chakra's blade in the body gathered on Zanpakuto. For the time being, Bajian's strongest cut. Obito. There is nothing in front of me except the empty gully. Qian. Zanpakuto thrust into the ground. Bajian's body began to tremble. A feeling of weakness surged from my heart. It did not come from the weakness of the body. It's the hollow feeling that Reiatsu hollowed out. It will take at least a few days to recover. But his goal has been achieved. Looking at 9 tails that had stopped in the village, Bajian smiled and breathed a sigh of relief. Ended. Shit's power tail chaos. Sitting on the ground, Bajian yawned. Fatigue is certain. Although there are still some things to deal with, the right decision is to rest for a while. It's just that when Bajian just made a decision, he suddenly gave a wry smile. In Konoha village, a certain 313 soul fluctuation suddenly became weird. I said, Mr. Minato, are you too fast? Sighing and dragging a somewhat tired body, Bajian walked towards Konoha. But the physical weakness got worse, and Bajian almost fell without paying attention. Sword sang. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him, and the familiar feeling surprised Bajian. I am carrying you. The enemies that attacked Konoha have been wiped out, so I will come over and take a look if I feel a little hardened. Itachi looked back at Bajian. Although I am a little embarrassed, Jianzhang, it is indeed my turn to stand in front of you this time. Tired and slept for a long time. Sleep with your sister, the matter has not been dealt with yet. Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Inside Konoha village. Kurama looked at the eyes of the people around him and wanted to shake his tail with dissatisfaction. Just about to move and hold back. The kid said, don't mess around. Tsunade snorted and squatted on the ground in a comfortable position. But a man rushed over quickly despite his words. It looks like he wants to catch its beautiful tail. You stay away from my uncle. The dissatisfied Kurama stepped back and damaged several rooms by the way. I'm not to blame. 9 tails is a bit wrong. Minato stared at the huge tail beast blankly. In fact, this kind of something is wrong, since he just settled in Kushina and Naruto AEFI. Just found out. When the tail beast, known as the hatred and resentment, came out, it did not ravage Konoha. Except for the random collision when he was under control at the beginning, now the illusion has disappeared and people are just old. Squat there honestly without moving. What's happening here? Is it because you are preparing for a big move? Minato's head is full of question marks. It's not to blame Minato. Kushina was resting after receiving the fairy talisman and didn't tell Minato's story about Bajian and 9 tails, and she was far away that day, and the details are not known. So, now 9 tails is standing there and breathing freely under everyone's eyes. Master 4th generation, we are ready. All the unknown ninjas gathered around one by one. Whether to attack or not is the sentence 4th generation. But obviously Kurama saw through these people's thoughts, and immediately stood up with his teeth and claws. Who dares to touch this uncle? The uncle finally came out, and still beat me. Why is it that the uncle dare not fight back? Puffed up his mouth, a huge sphere slowly formed in front of Kurama. Tailed Beast Bomb's representative attack skill already looks like this. The imposing roar made Minato nervous instantly, and then rushed over without hesitation. Seeing how 9 tails wanted to spin the tail and Tailed Beast Bomb, Minato looked serious. Flying Thunder God can transfer Tailed Beast Bomb. But if the body of 9 tails is rotated to activate the Tail Beast, I am afraid that the surrounding ninjas will die. No solution anymore. At this moment, Little Sun's eyes are decisive. There is no time to hesitate. Both hands quickly formed seals. The mission of guarding the village made him stand up. The seal must be applied before the Tailed Beast Bomb is completed. He is the Hokage of Konoha, and it is his mission to protect the village. Even if you sacrifice your life. Bajian, the village is left to you. Seal technique. The ghouls are all sealed. Quote. K. The seal of Duya Byongran has just begun, and the huge Shinigami ghost appears slowly. The puzzling sentence is particularly harsh. Teacher, you have a few tricks with it to seal it. I've said everything to it, didn't they also make trouble? Baji, riding a ferret, quickly hurried, but in the end he was a step late. Pointing to the end of the force, Baji said helplessly. It's coming. This kid. With a snort, Tsunade's Kurama joked the tailed beast bomb into his stomach. With a muffled sound, the gas began to extend to the circumference, and all the ninjas around covered their mouths. What does it smell? Eat shit. It smells bad. Oh, stupid human beings. I didn't expect it. Tailed beast bomb is fake. The uncle just wanted to pretend. Come out to breathe and not scare people, the uncle is uncomfortable all over. Who told you to fight the uncle? Deserves to be smoked to death. The corners of Minato's mouth twitched. It seems that sometimes the not printing speed is too fast, which is not a good thing. I looked at Nine Tails, who was cleverly squatting there, in confusion, and looked at the Shinigami phantom behind me. Minato was lost in thought. At this moment he understood. He looks like, it's too empty. Nine Tails is his own. The scene seemed a bit awkward. Baji sighed and patted Itachi and jumped off him. The current situation, but it's not too late. If the ceremony is completed, I'm afraid Minato will really offend it. Now, it's too late. Hey, you can go away. Unlike other people who can't see the Shinigami phantom and can only vaguely feel the depressed atmosphere, as Shinigami's Bajian can be seen clearly. He is Shinigami. With Zanpakuto, things like souls can't cover his eyes. Minato was taken aback by the low growl. Bajian can actually see Shinigami. Doesn't it mean that only the person who signed the contract can see it? Saihei was provoked. Shinigami opened his teeth and danced his claws and pulled out the handle of the knife that cuts the soul. Ready to attack Minato. Huh, you ungrateful animal. The light shines on Zanpakuto, and the black crescent rising to the sky instantly cuts Shinigami into two. A shrill wailing rose to the sky, and even the ninjas who couldn't see Shinigami blocked their ears. Finally, Shinigami's shadow disappears into the air. Sure enough, as expected. Exactly the same as Bajian guessed. As long as it is a soul body, Zanpakuto is a powerful nemesis. Shinigami disappeared, and the feeling of being caught in the soul disappeared. Minato was already shocked. Know what to say. Blasted down. After watching a scene, Kurama became so lazy and damaged a few houses, his body began to gradually shrinking. Until he became the mini fox and hopped to Bajian. Hey, kid. My uncle has kept his promise, when will you keep your promise? The cute fox stretched out his paw and asked. It seems that you didn't realize the seriousness of the problem. Didn't you get smaller before? You have to change now. Small. You crushed something, don't you know? Quote. And I picked up Nine Tails' ears and lowered it into the air like a chick, and then put my mouth on those too. Big ear. The boy bulged his chest high and exhausted all his strength and let out a roar. Who the hell asked you to put tailed beast bomb to scare people? At this moment, Kurama seemed to hear the mountain whistling and tsunami, his eyes and feet fainted. The moment he closed his eyes, Bajian only heard the murmur. My uncle is not deaf. Gone. If it's not for the little man, I can't do you. Sixth more. Ask for flowers and tickets. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 110 Shisui. Danzo, you have been arrested. The battle is over. With the concerted efforts of all ethnic groups and ninjas, the surrounding ninjas who dared to invade Konoha have been wiped out. It's not that Konoha's people don't know how to stay alive for interrogation. It's that those ninjas see that the situation is gone, they would rather die than be prisoners, and don't want the information to leak out of their mouths. This is the fate of the ninja. Mission failure is often accompanied by death. Report to Lord Naruto, Lord Minister. The invading enemy has been wiped out. Due to the enemy's stubborn resistance, no one was caught. From the point of view of the ninjutsu attributes used by the enemy, it is impossible to determine the identity of the opponent. Fire style, earth style, water style, wind style, and need to escape almost all. The corpse has been inspected, and the ninja forehead protector was not brought before the operation. The identity is extremely difficult to determine. Quote. This battle has wiped out thousands of enemies. Quote. Listening to Kakashi's report in front of him, Minato patted Bajian on the shoulder with emotion. Konoha completed the task of guarding the homeland with minimal cost. But the significance of this battle is not only to protect the homeland on the face of it, but also to foreshadow a re-emergence. The faith that keeps pace and never shrinks is the true will of fire. In the flames of war, this first ninja village was reborn. In the true number 1 ninja village, every member is not afraid of death, and dares to charge in front of the enemy to block the enemy. This momentum alone is enough to crush everything. The report continues. Nine Tails has passed out, but the matter is not over yet. The ninjas are cleaning up the mess, but Bajian's gaze is in the direction of Naruto Rock. Danzo, it seems that I won this game. The final piece of shogi fell, and Sarutobi lit his pipe with a smile on his face. This is a fierce duel. Until now, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart is still beating violently. Siege. War chaos. Nine Tails broke out. Now that the fighting subsided, the cheers from Konoha Center let Sarutobi understand the final result. Konoha. The same Konoha. Danzo didn't speak. At this moment, his face was gloomy and terrible. Failed. He did not expect this result at all. Such a careful plan still failed. That said, Uchiha Madara, who contacted him, would definitely be foolproof. Standing up, Danzo wanted to leave. But Sarutobi stood in front of him for a moment, blocking his way out. You can't go. Putting down the pipe, Sarutobi said calmly. It's over, Sarutobi. I did lose, but this Konoha will end sooner or later in their hands. Quote. Danzo said coldly. Indeed, the battle is over, but there are some things you haven't explained yet. Sarutobi took a deep breath and got into seriousness. Tell me, what the hell did you do? What have you done? I don't know if it's because of the failure, the bag is a bit stiff, or he doesn't think what Sarutobi can do with him. This guy suddenly smiled. Sarutobi, what have I done over the years, you really don't know. Why is there only Tsunade left in the Senju clan? Why did Hatake Sakumo died? Those things that Orochimaru studied. Quote. Don't you know everything? With a crazy look in his eyes, Danzo seemed to know that from today onwards, he has no chance of turning over. But this does not prevent him from venting his resentment towards Sarutobi. He is provoking, and to rely on, is that Sarutobi is still soft-hearted. You are not suitable for Hokage at all. The old man is in darkness, but Konoha's route. Everything we do is for the village. In order to correct Konoha's direction, even if he cooperates with other shinobu villages, he will not hesitate. Danzo looked cold. I'm not afraid to tell you. Among the ninjas who besieged Konoha, in addition to the other people in the shinobu village, the roots of the old man also participated. The purpose was to retrieve the two-tailed Jinchuriki who belonged to the village. Unfortunately, it failed. The old man knew all the plans and arranged everything. He actually took action against the village. Sarutobi stared blankly at the old man in front of him. His changes made Sarutobi unacceptable. Now, I will tell you what I should tell you. With sarcasm on his face, Danzo walked towards Sarutobi Hiruzen step by step. But you can really do something against me. Sarutobi, your weakness eventually led Konoha to destruction. You are not suitable for being Hokage at all. After repeating the previous sentence again, Danzo's heart suddenly became a little more happy. It's like now, you would never really shoot me. He even let me go, hiding all the darkness under the sun. It's not the first time you do this kind of thing anyway, it's like watching Orochimaru kill so many Anbu ninjas and then watching him leave. Let go Orochimaru. Sarutobi opened his mouth, with pain on his face. The hand holding the smoking gun loosened. Can I do it? Can all this be made public? Like letting go of Orochimaru. Teacher, if it were you, what would you do? Sarutobi trembled and wanted to turn his head to attack Danzo, but when he shot, the fierceness disappeared again. He is his old friend for decades. People who are closer than Orochimaru. Everything the old man does is for the village. Passing Sarutobi and stepping forward, Danzo yelled again like crazy. And this sentence made a ray of fire in Sarutobi's eyes. Suddenly with kunai, he turned around. But he didn't wait for him to speak. Abnormal sudden cattle. A pair of scarlet Sharingan appeared in front of Danzo. Uchiha Shisui. Arranged by Baji to monitor the important pieces of Sarutobi and Danzo. One of the members of the original root. Do not. With a loud roar, Shisui recalled everything he had done at the roots. Everything you do is not for the village, but for the position of Hokage. No one can deal with the people in the village under the banner of the village. This is what the captain taught me. Danzo, your roots are wrong, and it is Bajian who takes me out of the wrong. For the sake of the village, the respectable Hatake Senpai died. But I will definitely try my best to code words. Gone 3. The first is more. Take a deep breath. Danzo, you have been arrested. Shisui looked solemn. It is not the current root that protects the village. The original will of the root will be inherited by Yi Shao. Yi Shao Shisui is here. Regarding the update, the young author will work hard on the code word, but he does not want to be too watery, so the degree of outbreak is limited. He heard exactly what the two people said just now. For the village, let the roots attack Konoha now. Shisui stepped forward and stretched out his hand. The three-hook jade turned slowly, and the newly born Mangekyo has a strong sense of oppression. Now, you go to meet me with Master Naruto and Master Captain admit all mistakes. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Codewording. Clenching his fist fiercely, Shisui's anger reached its peak. For the sake of the village, the Senju clan perished. Chapter 111 Shimura Danzo, who was tied to the pole of shame, without a thorn. The old man will not let you go. As soon as Shisui's voice fell, Sarutobi behind him also moved slowly. One after another, Danzo has no room to escape. If you want to leave, you must defeat one of them instantly. But he was so stupid that he chose Shisui for this goal. Kunai squeezed his hand. Danzo rushed forward. I said, you were arrested. Shisui Mangekyo turned slowly. The meaning of arrest is obvious. He wants to catch the opponent and send him where he should go, and accept everyone's trial. The roots have completely disappeared from today. Shinyu's night owl has completely replaced the meaning of root. Kunai quickly approached with Danzo's movements. But Shisui's anger has risen to the extreme, and he eagerly wants to take Danzo to send him to Hokage and Bajian. Is asking him to confess what he has done over the years. 053 wants to subdue the former leader so quickly, there is only one way. The green skeleton rose from the ground, and the roaring Susanoo made Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen behind him nothing but shock. Susanoo. This is synonymous with destruction. According to the information of the Uchiha family left by second Hokage, only the Uchiha people who opened Mangekyo Sharingan can control the powerful moves. And Shisui has not only activated Mangekyo, but has even mastered this trick. Ding! Accompanied by a crisp sound. The famous scene appeared. But this time, Susanoo, who was smashed, was from Uchiha Shisui. Susanoo. Even if the person in front of him is the so-called destroyer Susanoo, he dare to try the defense of that thing. This is Danzo's confidence. Really. The defense is amazing. A trace of greed flashed in his eyes, and Danzo took a deep look at Shisui's eyes. But he seems to have forgotten Shisui, who was famous in the Third Ninja World War, what he was good at besides body flicker technique. In a trance, Danzo's body fell limply. This time, Shisui did not give Danzo any chance to activate Izanagi, and the super strong pupil power directly lost the opportunity to resist. In the original book, if Shisui could be cruel to launch such a powerful illusion, he would not be taken away by Danzo. Controlling Susanoo-hira's palm to pinch the opponent in his hand, Shisui looks at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Third Hokage. The conversation he had with Danzo just now made Shisui feel a little uncomfortable. It turned out that he already knew what Danzo did. Senju. Hatake Sakumo. Orochimaru. It's just that he didn't say it, and didn't stop it. This is not a qualified Hokage. But when he just turned around and wanted to shoot Danzo, he showed the courage and aura that Naruto should have. An old man full of contradictions. Shaking his head, Shisui told himself not to think about those things. There are many people with better minds than Konoha. It is his duty to hand Danzo to them. Master Third Generation, please come with me. Did not ask Third Generation if he would like to go to Minato with him, as a witness or something. Instead, using this kind of tone, please come with me, it is enough to represent Shisui's inner heart is a little disappointed with this old man. Konoha. How many unseen hardships this village has suffered. And what kind of pain did those comrades before the root have to deal with their own village? Do people at the root really have no feelings? No, it's not. I just hide that feeling in my heart and I don't want to feel it after seeing too much darkness. If I have not been taken out of the roots by Bajian, will I end up like them? Are you heading together? Sarutobi gave a wry smile, and finally reached this point. Looking at the old man being pinched, Sarutobi didn't know what to say. Power will hurt you after all. Danzo. It's coming. Retracting his gaze, Bajian smiled relievedly. Shisui finally awakened. A cruel heart came to Danzo. Looking around at the ninjas who were finishing the endgame, Bajian narrowed his eyes. That being the case, take advantage of this opportunity to completely eliminate Konoha's hidden dangers. Sky Burial. He waved his hand to Yamato who was eagerly preparing to build a house. Bajian has made a decision. A shinobu village wants to grow up completely. The wall of merit is one aspect, but also a pillar of shame on the other. Reward for merits, and severe punishments. This is the most basic thing. After the credits and faults were made public, the aggressive ninjas worked harder and had ideas in their hearts. Those will settle down on the wall of merit and the pillar of shame. Both are indispensable. My minister 0 inches. The cute Yamato doesn't know why. Although Nine Tails did not wreak havoc, it rushed all the way and trampled on many houses. As the only ninja in the village who knows wood style. He dared not say anything else, it was his excitement to build a house. Asterisk. As long as chakra is enough, he can build a street in a day. Don't worry about building a house. Put a pillar on the meritorious wall and tie the chain. I will use it later. Patting Yamato's shoulder, Bajian hit Zanpakuto, and Kurama, who was observing the surroundings with squinted eyes, looked at Minato. Teacher, it's time for some people to deal with it. Minato frowned, but didn't say anything. On the contrary, Kakashi next to him was stunned. The last time he was next to the meritorious wall, he heard Xiao Xiao once said the same thing. Some people keep it until now, but it's still useful, not for nothing. Is it time? Also, the matter of my father. Breathing was a bit short, and his hands were a little trembling. What is the truth? When the green Susanoo slowly came to the central square from below the Naruto rock, Joyoung's ninjas who were busy rebuilding all raised their heads. The Uchiha clan, the Hyuga clan, Ino Shika Cho, Anbu's elite, and Namikaze Minato, 4th Hokage. And Bajian is at the forefront. Approaching step by step, Shisui controlled Susanoo carrying Danzo, followed by Sarutobi with a wry smile and finally came to the open space in front of the meritorious wall. Subordinates, I have important information to report to you. Master Naruto, Master Minister. 5.7 inches. Do not. Senseless. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This matter, can you go to the Hokage office? Susanoo clutched Danzo, Shisui knelt on one knee. At this moment, the ninjas were stunned. Please decide. Baji stretched out his hand and dropped the tail he was holding. The llama pretending to be sleeping cleverly rolled on the ground for several laps and turned Byakugan uncomfortably. Collaboration. Tie him to me. Even Minato was dumbfounded. Only the third generation behind Nasu Sanohe stood up and sighed. The original root leader Shimura Danzo colludes, harms, and betrays Konoha. The evidence is solid. What is Shisui talking about? Second more. Please don't worry about the handling of the codeword Ingem Kurama. 1 Chapter 112 The person who walks in the dark. Interrogation in the square. Or because of curiosity, it seems to know something. The surrounding ninjas and villagers gathered around. It seems that something is going to happen. Yamato had already taken out the wooden stake, and Shisui didn't mean to be polite, and directly pressed Danzo on it. Along with the entanglement of the iron chain, Danzo, who was still trapped in the illusion, was bound and sturdy. You can speak. Standing in front of Danzo, Bajian thrust Zanpakuto into the ground and looked towards Shisui. Shimura Danzo. At the beginning of the follow-up, his original intention of establishing the roots was indeed to hide in the roots and contribute his strength. It is also to prove that he is no worse than Sarutobi Hiruzen. And a village really needs such a department to deal with the obscure problems. But his path slowly turned crooked. From the Second Ninja World War, the fake corpses that can lead the way to obtain beneficial information, set off a civil war of rain. Even now, the desire for Hokage's location completely blinded his eyes. He is a person in darkness, who has completely lost the light. Has long since fallen to the root. But what caused all this was Danzo's slowly changing character. There are also issues left over from history. That is the education of second Hokage Senju Tobarama for his staff. 04. Senju Tobarama has all the qualities of a good Naruto, a true political genius. The man who studied the forbidden technique had unique thinking about the development of the village. Where there is light, there is darkness. Treat people in the village either kindly or harshly. Sarutobi inherited the kindness of Senju Tobarama. And Danzo, inherited as the kind of cruelty that can achieve the goal by all means. Sarutobi is the eternal sunshine and kind Hokage, Danzo is the root of decisive killing in the dark. But the two disciples didn't learn it well. Yes. A benevolent man watched his old man do things that harm Konoha indifferently, and he was kind enough to let go of Orochimaru, who had harmed Konoha's more than 60 innocent children. The other is so spicy that in order to maintain the stability of Konoha, only Tsunade is left in the Senju clan. That's his teacher's ethnic group. It was after creating Konoha village and calming down the troubled Senju room. Even so, the existence of that clan only threatened Konoha's stability. He can deal with it. The Senju clan has fallen bizarrely and is the predecessor of the Uchiha clan. That clan, the status of Konoha is too high. 2 generations of Hokage, unimaginable feats, made that clan's prestige to a certain extent. Even within the Senju clan, the position of Naruto did not continue to allow the Senju clan to continue. This is human nature. In order to eradicate the consequences, Danzo made a decision. So the Senju clan disappeared. Even afterwards, he made great contributions to Konoha. Hatake Tsukumo, the commander-in-chief of the Second Ninja War, was forced to commit suicide just because he failed a small mission. Besides, there are still many things that are not visible. When Shisui stood in front of everyone and said what he heard at the root entrance. People shocked. The whole square is silent. This kind of thing is simply unacceptable. It is impossible to tolerate it. The decline of the Senju clan has something to do with the people who are considered to be high-ranking Konoha. Rebel Orochimaru, still keep in touch with Danzo. Even this time Konoha suffered disaster, Danzo knew about it early on. Not only did they remain silent and didn't say anything, they even sent members of the Roots to join the raid team. Is this still human? After calm, there is endless anger. A sigh came from Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth. He didn't expect things to develop to such an extent. Shisui said everything. Is this kind of thing really easy to make public? Minato, what do you think? No, not Minato. It's Yi Bajian. Sarutobi smiled wryly and looked at the not-so-tall figure. The wall of merit and the pillar of shame are really your character. Wouldn't it be okay to take Danzo down and interrogate slowly? Why should I say such a thing on this occasion? Sarutobi Hiruzen will never understand Bajian's thoughts. Can't try to understand. Perhaps in his opinion, maintaining the stability on the surface of Konoha would be a great satisfaction. But Bajian understands that today's Nine Tails chaos is over. But the villagers and ninjas in Konoha village need a target to vent. Just like Naruto in the original book. In this disaster, someone will always come out to bear hatred. If you compare yourself to darkness, then this hatred will be borne by you. The premise is, do you have this determination and perseverance? Full of confidence like Naruto, the whole world deserves him blacken, but there is no blacken. That kind of spirit is most admirable. Does he fit Danzo? Claiming to be the darkness of the ninja world. You simply don't care about Obito and Black Zetsu. And besides the things I did above, there are some things that might arouse anger even more. Withdrawing Zanpakuto, under the angry eyes of the villagers and ninjas, Bajian walked towards Shimura Danzo. Lifted high and fell heavily. With a sound, the bandage on Danzo fell off instantly. Together with the arm that fell to the ground. On that, the extremely unstable Senju Hashirama cells are creeping nauseously. This arm is Orochimaru's transformation of Danzo when he left Konoha. At this moment, there is no densely packed Sharingan on it, and on the cells suppressed by Sharingan, a small sapling will appear from time to time. This is the wood style of first generation. Danzo, who was caught in the illusion, couldn't suppress the terrifying cell. By Jing, the Uchiha clan has not yet been destroyed, and Danzo does not have that many 3-go jade to offer him to release Izanagi. And the source of this arm is Orochimaru's test subject Uchiha Shin. It's just a little experiment by Orochimaru. But that's the case, the unstable Hashirama cell on it has already made the ninjas stare in anger. No one can tolerate things like experimenting with the remains of first generation. As long as you are not blind, you know that it's true that Danzo and Orochimaru are still in contact with Shisui just now. They are not the only ones who are angry. When the bandage covering Danzo's eyes fell, that 3-tomo Sharingan was particularly dazzling. Fugaku's fists rattled. There is a record of the tribesmen who turned on the 3-go jade so far, except for Kakashi who inherited Obito's Sharingan, and it has not leaked out. The only possibility, 670, is that Danzo has their grave. What is on this guy's body? The presence of the Uchiha clan Shinobu, but there is still one less witness of the Senju clan. After taking Zanpakuto's turn, Danzo's remaining arms and legs were all severed. The pain and blood made Danzo recover from the illusion in an instant. But everything in front of him made him desperate. The slashing characteristic of the dead soul effect of the knife began to invade his soul, and even his only 3-tomo Sharingan under Chakra's disturbance could not help him activate Izanagi. Before she comes back, enjoy it slowly. People who walk in the darkness must have the consciousness to endure the darkness, I don't know if you have it. Quote. With Zanpakuto, Bajian yawned and turned away. After experiencing so much today, he needs to rest well and regenerate. The turmoil is over, but the chain reaction brought about by the Nine Tails chaos has just begun. He still has a lot to do. For example, those who attack Konoha must pay the price. This eye does not belong to you. Regardless of other people's eyes, Fugaku walked up to Danzo step by step and stubbed out the 3-hook jade. In the original work, Danzo relied on the Izanagi released by Sharingan to instantly change the situation and steal Shisui's eyes. The angry eyes of surrounding villagers and ninjas slowly gathered. Danzo's heart was beating violently. He knows that the retribution has come. Next is the time for self-sacrifice. Third more. Code Ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 113 next time. Me, Danzo, never give way. The wind in early autumn was a bit bleak. October 11th, early morning. On Konoha's central square, she jumped from fright in the first half of the night to anger in her chest. The villagers and ninjas have experienced a lot. And now, those people have vented enough to return home to rest and wait for Ming Tenten to rebuild the house that was accidentally trampled on by Kurama. Danzo's blood is still flowing on the humiliation pillar next to the wall of glory and merit. He will not die, at least not for the time being. Don't underestimate Senju Hashirama's vitality remaining on him. But the price of living is to endure the bite of cells being gradually swallowed and the kind of weakness in the soul that is tortured by the flat-cutting characteristics. Unable to move, you can't commit suicide. He finally understood why 4th generation needs to behave so well during the negotiation. It's not that I don't want to resist. He can't do it. Reikage couldn't do it with the kind of physical fitness, let alone him. The bleak autumn breeze and pain kept Danzo awake. The more darkness one bears, the more unbearable it will be when retribution comes. Danzo's heart is nearly flat and crazy. This is only the first day. He has reached the brink of collapse. Suddenly, footsteps approached. Moving his head laboriously, Danzo saw a familiar figure. The old buddy who played shogi with him at the entrance of the route. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha's 3rd Hokage. People who have never won in a lifetime. Itachi once said that it was correct. People only know what kind of person they are when they are dying. For example, the real man Hoshigaki Kisame would rather be torn to pieces by sharks before he died than send intelligence to the enemy. 1,007 mulberries, maybe I am not so useless. This is Kisame's swan song. Danzo seems to understand what he has done in his life. Contribution may be, but too much credit. If the merit wall next to it doesn't go, then this column of shame is a way to be remembered, right? Self-deprecating smile, Danzo's hoarse voice came. Come to mock me, Sarutobi. Mocking. Sarutobi shook his head lonely. The old people are withering away one after another, like leaves falling in the wind. Let me say that since Mr. Tobarama's death, apart from you, only Kagami understands me best. Homura and Kaharu are still a bit close after all. Standing in front of the inhuman Danzo, Sarutobi said with emotion. We are all old, Danzo. Although I want to criticize you now, I tell you not to try to change anything before I say anything, just look at the powerful Konoha of future generations. But now those words are meaningless. His gaze shifted from Danzo's body to the air. In the early autumn morning, the stars in the sky were still so bright. A shooting star slowly passed by, just like life is about to die. Danzo, I know my shortcomings as a person, and I also know your strengths. The two of us complement each other, and Konoha really became stronger in the beginning. But slowly, we all changed. With a long sigh, an old tear flicked across the corner of Sarutobi's eyes. I have become weaker and more merciful, and you have become more and more cold-blooded. That's why it became what it is today. You will be remembered by people, and I can't even get on the wall of merit. With a wry smile, Sarutobi took out a bottle of wine from behind, opened the bottle and brought it to Danzo's mouth. It's like this now, old man, I still don't want to see you being tortured like this. I want to give you a ride. Did you see it clearly? Danzo opened his mouth, after all he didn't say what he wanted to say. Give me a ride. Danzo smiled, opened his mouth, bit the mouth of the bottle, raised his head, and poured it in fiercely. After drank the liquid clean in one breath, Danzo gasped and loosened the bottle. Sarutobi, if you give me another chance, Mr. Tobirama will be cut off. I, Danzo, will never give way. I won't hesitate for that second. Dressed coarsely, Danzo roared at the pop across the sky. The old man is Shimura Danzo. Even if I die, my blood will flow into Konoha's land and let my blood nourish Konoha's roots. After the roar, there was a moan of pain. A generation of ninjas who walked in the darkness came to an end. Go, I will look at this Konoha. When I die, I will tell you everything I see. We are really old. Reaching out and closing Danzo's eyes, Sarutobi turned and left. Perhaps the one who knows him best is still Danzo. It's a pity that the two of them didn't really talk to each other about their inner thoughts until they were about to die. Shook his head. The lonely background is the only landscape in the entire central square. A touch of white fish belly slowly emerged in the east. The night has passed. The new life continues. There is light and warmth ahead. The country of rain. It's still the same scene as before. The patter of rain washed the earth. The mystery of Rain Shinobi Village still makes people want to find out. Inside a dark cave, the horrible howl makes the scalp numb. Inside the cave, one by one white Zetsu came out of the ground, and merged into the painful bed again and again. On the figure, the squirming body makes people feel pain at first glance. Uchiha Obito. He is still alive, but it's worse than death. The Izanagi used at the moment of death did not allow him to turn the situation around. That Uchiha Madara once stayed. The incoming spare Sharingan has turned off white. The black Sero directly left less than a third of his body. If it weren't transferred here with the last chakra, use the vitality of dozens of white Zetsu to make up. I am afraid that the lost lives are already dead. Izanagi. The life-saving skills of the Uchiha clan. The black flash came fast, and the devastating was even more outrageous. If it weren't for Kamui to recover after that knife, he would really be wiped out to ashes. Not even the ashes are left. This is the case, the damage to his soul is the most terrifying wound. And soul. Daddy, it's really not gay, and it's not going to be a motherhood. Don't worry about the many emotional scenes behind. Who the hell is it? The pain caused by a mutilated soul is the most terrible. That kid. Code wording. Let's talk about the emotional drama that everyone is concerned about. Danzo, the young author thinks he should give him the dignity he deserves. Sarutobi's words will end in a glorious end. Code word. Even if the body is supplemented by white Zetsu, the trauma of the soul still cannot be repaired. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Replaced by white Zetsu, otherwise he will definitely die. Hao Li Jiao, Zanpakudo, it's not just life that kills. Fourth more. Kamui is cracked. Under the hospital bed, Black Zetsu poked his head out and watched Obito roll in pain in disbelief. The other thing about being able to survive is that his original damaged body was doped with Hashirama cells. No, it caused a short space distortion with a strong enough attack and sealed Kamui's hollow. What a destructive power this is, it can really cause a momentary distortion of space. The age of the protagonist is here, and the age of the girl who made her is also young, so I want to grow up and be a girl. Chapter 114 My uncle played with you. Snee. Although it's early autumn, sneezing is not normal for Bajian. The practice of swinging the sword in the daily mission continues. His physical fitness has also become stronger with the increase in the number of swings. So things like a cold obviously cannot happen to Bajian. Of course, there is still a sense of emptiness in the body. Reiatsu is still recovering. The black Sero consumption of that day was still a bit large. After all, he was swinging the knife with all his strength, and Bajian believed that even Uchiha Madara's complete body, Susanoo, would still have to split. This sneeze. Explain that someone is talking about themselves. Lying on the recliner, The maid kitten next to him paused, apparently startled by his sneeze. I thought I was not in place. 2. She didn't need to fan her in the weather in early autumn. Go on. Bajian waved his hand disapprovingly. He is resting now, and the next move will begin when his body is almost ready. But the sneeze is refreshing, and Kurama, who is lying on the couch and eating 3 color balls, is obviously a little bit sick. Can this meatball still be eaten? Although human sneezing is not as strong as a tail beast, it feels a little sick after all. Licking his lips, Kurama lost his thoughts. Also lost in thought was the little maid next to her, and the second tail in her body. 283 My god. Is this really 9 tails? Don't doubt it, it really is. Erway exclaimed. When did the tyrannical and proud 9 tails become a well-behaved fox? And also take the initiative to skip to give a hand to humans. Is this still 9 tails? Really? Don't speak out, Matabi. When Niu was shocked, Kurama's words suddenly reached his ears. 9 tails has a bad relationship with 1 tail. Because it always uses the number of tails to measure strength. Although this is the truth, 1 tail is not bad on the whole. It is estimated that tailed beast bomb can be released after a day and a half of brewing. After all, people would use ninjutsu. But Niu is not interested in these. As a female tail beast, she didn't want to argue about those. So overall the relationship with 9 tails is good. I just didn't expect that Kurama would be so quiet. Matabi shook his head in shock. No way, you are also a tail beast, you should know that if this uncle fights with him, he will die miserably. Kurama said angrily. Do you think that being a tailed beast is willing to lure humans? This is forced, otherwise there will be no snacks. And the gourd hanging from the kid's waist is not good enough to pull the spicy, but it tastes very enjoyable to drink erguodu. To get those things, there is only one condition. Good. He proactively stretched his head and arched Bajian's arm. Someone calmly threw the wine gourd to the other person. He had talked to Kurama before when sealing the space inside Kushina's body. Have a drink free. Have a chat. That's the one who should be. Well, although it is a bit humiliating, Matabi feels free indeed. But this kid doesn't look so excessive now, so this uncle is used to him. In order to save herself, Kurama said calmly, erguodu dully. Don't look at this uncle now. When he bullies this uncle in the future, my uncle will still be so mad and his mother won't know him. With a sneer from Wooden Golem, he leaned close to Bajian's face. The tail beasts communicate with each other, but Jinchuriki can hear clearly. Master, 9 tails just said that we will rebel in the future. Without any hesitation, Wooden Golem sold Latail to make life better in the future. My uncle played with you. Kurama was squatting on the ground and drinking. He was furious. He was about to raise his paw and rush up to fight with Wooden Golem, but Bajian grabbed his ears and dragged him into the air. Rebel. Bajian looked at it calmly and grabbed the wine gourd back easily. In his opinion, raising a tail beast is similar to raising a dog. Of course, this dog is very spiritual. And eat a lot. It's only been out for a few days now. AEEC, my face has started to round. Don't dare. Kurama's tail twitched for an instant, and then he stared at you Wooden Golem with an angry gaze. Matabi, when the guy next to you grows up, when you put your Jinchuriki Kong to do that kind of disgusting tail beast thing, you remember to make a small movie for me. My uncle wants to make the video public. From Wooden Golem's face turned red. This report seems impossible to fight. At that time, we will change. This uncle will give you Senju Hashirama, the god of ninja, and 4th Hokage. It's disgusting. From Wooden Golem's face was completely red to the neck. The hands holding the fan were a little white, obviously irritating. Candid video. Why didn't she know that the tail beast had this function? And this is not the main thing. The most important thing is who stipulates that the maid will be, by that in the future. Who stipulated it? Roared inwardly by Wooden Golem. It seems that you really can't run away in the future. I guess he has grown up and worked as a maid for so many years. It would take a lot of trouble to be homesick for others. No one should ask for it. Erway comforted him kindly. Seeing the sparks between 9 tails and Wooden Golem's eyes rubbing against each other, Bajian was startled. He really couldn't hear the communication between Jinchuriki and the tail beast. But just looking at this guy's eyes instinctively felt a little wrong. Well, whatever. 9 tails still looks pretty cute, and it's pretty good. With his eyes turned slightly, Bajian suddenly remembered something and dragged 9 tails onto himself and looked at him. Make a discussion, it will be good for you, me, and the village. Also, do you want people in this village to call you Master 9 tails? Naruto, who lacks 9 tails, is almost nothing. What are you going to do with my uncle? Just say it. Code word ing, ask for a wave of flowers and votes. According to this kid's usual style, shouldn't it be a direct threat? He pinched the fat chin of his tail. Bajian's voice was bewitching. It really wants to hit it, but it can't. Send you to a person who truly understands you, but the difference is that you can still move freely. I have a way to do this. But the feeling of danger has even scared 9 tails into a few drops of urine. Beat Uchiha Madara. Bajian said lightly. Besides, there is Naruto. Fifth more. Ninetales' eyes gradually brightened. The tail squinted his eyes, and instinctively noticed something was wrong. Ms. Minato is known as the Golden Glitter, but the current Golden Glitter is still a bit short. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Discuss. I ask you if you want to violently beat Uchiha Madara, the one who controls you. Chapter 115. He touched my people, I slaughtered him a village. The trust of tail beasts and humans. It is impossible for Bajian's few words to really form that kind of bondage. In particular, Bajian is not Naruto either. Mouth escaping has never been his strong point. He is more suitable for talking with a knife. See, if you are unhappy and just hacked to death, if you pass the wine gourd to your eyes, it is considered to be acquaintance after drinking it, and if you get his approval next time and have a drink, then it is a friend. Simple people. Simple guidelines for doing things. Therefore, Ninetales naturally cannot agree directly. The people who are truly recognized by it do not say but do. Bajian didn't force it either. Fate will eventually become a well-behaved husky in the future. No fate. Nothing can't be beaten. Everything depends on good luck. Believe that this thing is cultivated slowly, and it's only a few days to get along with it, and it's already good for a llama to squat at home and take care of the nursing home. As for the impact of the tail beast on Kushina after leaving the body, it has been restored with the help of the fairy talisman. She is a great mother now. The Ninetales chaos is over. But Konoha also followed up with some new problems. Naturally, Minato thought of his excellent disciple. In the Naruto office, Bajian stroked his Zanpakuto as if he was thinking about something. Shimura Danzo is dead, it is an explanation to the villagers. Leaving Hokage's position, Minato sat beside Bajian and said, if you die, die. Third generation is not always like this. This time it's good to be able to send Danzo back to the west by hand. After yawning, the teenager was in a state of lack of interest. He didn't even bother to listen to this kind of thing. If third generation didn't take action, he would split Danzo's soul with one blow, and then house it in Zanpakuto, so that he could understand the restless days after death. But since he is dead, there is no need to think about those issues. Also, there is a problem with Konoha's medical system. That hospital has been completely scrapped because of the knife fight between Ninetales and you. Now Konoha's head of the medical department can't keep up with the ability. I went and took a look. The command is not so smooth, so. Minato said embarrassingly. It seems that after one of Sanin's Tsunade left, Konoha's medical level plummeted, and there is no real medical ninja. Do you want Tsunade to go back to the village? Bajian suddenly realized that Konoha's Tsunade is quite powerful, not to mention medical ninjutsu, which is milk output. After thinking about it, Bajian nodded slightly. When I finish this matter, I will go to her to try my luck. After all, Danzo is dead now, and it can be considered as an explanation to the Senju family. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. It is natural that Tsunade-sama can return to the village. But what did Bajian just mention when he was finished? Are there other important things? Have you figured out the identities of those corpses? With his head tilted, Bajian's eyes were revealed. His most concerned issue is naturally this. It is not Bajian's character to be beaten and not fight back. It's not Konoha's character now. The root members launched by Danzo are only a small part of the assault team, and the real culprit must have other people involved besides the white Zetsu brought by Obito. It's difficult to investigate. There are no obvious features and the ninjutsu used is all sorts of miscellaneous, just like. Closing his mouth, Minato let out a bitter cry. It's like the other 4 shinobu villages are united and sent to attack Konoha, right? With a sneer, Bajian is full of murderous expression. All Obito can command is Kurigakure, a country of water. After all, after Lin, Kurigakure's 4th Mizukage Yagura has become the new Three Tails Jinchuriki. Let Yagura send someone to attack Konoha, this kind of thing is easy for him. But in places like Kurigakure, in addition to water style, there are very few ninjas with other attributes of Grandmaster Ninjutsu. So in addition to the roots, Kurigakure, White Zetsu, these 3 known invasion enemies. There are other shinobu villages participating. Bajian did not hesitate to lock this participant in the land of the wind and the land of the earth. As for the country of thunder, unless 4th Raikage really wants to die, he will never make trouble even if he knows Konoha's strength. Especially now that the combat effectiveness of Cloud Shinobi Village has not recovered, it is even more dare not to make such a move. Therefore, the goal of revenge has been determined. The country of water, the country of wind and the country of earth. I don't know what conditions Obito used to persuade them. However, the majesty of the first ninja village is definitely not something this gang of garbage can provoke. It seems like, but Bajian, you should understand that without direct evidence, we can only swallow this result. Even, there is no target of revenge. Minato said helplessly. Although the loss this time was small, many more people came out of the heroic monument on the meritorious wall. Those were heroes who charged ahead and sacrificed their lives for Konoha. Why not? Bajian raised his eyebrows and stood up and raised Zanpakuto. Bajian, calm down. Minato put his hand on his disciple's shoulder. I am as angry as you, but Konoha has never had such a direct retaliation. And if we make a move, I'm afraid we will causes changes in the entire ninja world. This effect is too great. Although Minato believes that his disciples can make the heroes who sacrifice their lives rest in peace, but even if you want revenge, you have to do it step by step. I have a question, Mrs. Minato. Turning around, Baji looked at him seriously. Why, Konoha has never crossed the border and stepped on the land of other countries. Except for the Kingdom of Rain, whether it is the First Ninja World War or the Third Ninja World War is just a defense against foreign enemies. Even when the battle is in favor of Konoha, instead of pursuing, choose peace talks instead. Minato was stunned and lost in thought. A few seconds later, he gave his own answer. Because of resistance, Konoha has already paid a heavy price, especially the multifaceted combat in the Third Ninja World War that made Konoha even worse. Under those conditions, Konoha has no more capital to fight. Do not. Baji sighed slightly. This is a question of the way of thinking. A very simple example. Mr. Minato, your words are known as golden glitter in the Third Ninja World War. You can easily cross the border, kill their people, and let them know that Konoha is not easy to mess with. Let them know the price of invading the country of fire. But you didn't do that. After the situation stabilized, you decisively chose peace talks. I understand that if you really do that, the enemy will die. But, so what? Baji held Zanpakuto tightly and pointed out the window. Everyone had a different way of thinking, but he was not pregnant with Minato. The way of thinking about problems is different. As Hokage, the overall situation is naturally important. But he is not Hokage. If it was me, he moved my people, I will slaughter him a village. The fish die and the net breaks to the dead. Die, bite a piece of meat from them. Only then will they be afraid of Konoha. Taking a deep breath, the killing intent in Bajian's eyes grew stronger. 200 Anbu elite is on standby. I want to kill it back. Sixth more. Ooh, ask for flowers. Tsunade's mother is not big. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 116. Before this sword, everything is invincible. Big brother. Cloud Shinobi Village surrounded by mountains, the atmosphere is not so good these days. In addition to Killer B in the familiar ward, there was another patient. His righteous brother. Fourth Raikage. Of Cloud Shinobi Village. At this moment, his elder brother's situation is even more worrying than before. The injury of broken hand and foot is not the most serious. Not to mention recovery from the damaged soul, it is extremely difficult to adapt to that feeling. The recovery period is much slower than expected. Killer B is much better, but still a little weak and far from returning to its peak state. Fortunately, he is now free to move around. Needless to say, I always lying in bed to get used to the feeling of missing arms and legs. After the arm can't be connected, he is destined to become a one-armed boy. What worries the medical ninja of Cloud Shinobi Village is that after the fractured calf was connected, he still couldn't move. 163. Just like Orochimaru's hands were sealed, he seemed to have lost consciousness. How's it going? Hasn't the news come back? Struggling to sit up from the bed, I asked eagerly. The injury on the body can be ignored, but the situation in the ninja world must be accurately informed. Especially Konoha's news. Killer B nodded. When Mabui came to report before, I was still resting. For the conservative tortured, it is a very happy thing to fall asleep. Killer B knew this feeling well, so he didn't wake him up. Who won? Konoha, or those people? I hurriedly asked the result. Konoha is safe. Not even a few people died, but the entire army that invaded Konoha was wiped out. Killer B told the truth. Is it true? Raikage sighed, taking it for granted and regretful at the same time. Of course, if he understands that Konoha is there, Konoha won't have any problems. Just like him at the beginning, the people who invaded Konoha didn't know how terrifying Konoha Kenpachi was. Regarding regrets, it's the overlord clauses negotiated with Konoha, and I'm afraid they will have to be fulfilled in the future. For example, the humiliating conditions of how many materials are handed over to Konoha every year. Regrettably, Raikage also took a lot of fortune. Fortunately, I did not act rashly because of the secret letter placed on the desk of Cloud Shinobi Village. That's an invitation to attack Konoha together. In each Shinobu village, hundreds of elites were dispatched to attack together, and Konoha was caught off guard. The detailed plan is also very clear. Produced by Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Hokage has to take care of him. First take the opportunity to find the second tail and cause the second tail to run wild, and then let Nine-Tails break the seal and attack together from the inside to the outside. A very careful plan. As long as it is implemented well, it is necessary to believe that Cloud Shinobi Village may not be able to withstand such an attack. The most terrifying thing is, Kurigakure, Iwagakure and Sand Shinobi Village all agreed to help. This is like the third ninja war ever. As for the benefits after the victory, it is to divide up Konoha's assets and some resources of the country of fire. Among them, Nine-Tails and Erway are the most attractive. Who doesn't want to take the opportunity to expand the tail beast known as the war machine? But they failed. Nine-Tails and Nine-Tails did not run wild. Konoha, who was in strong negotiations with Cloud Shinobi Village, used positive actions to tell all the enemies who came that they are still the first Shinobi Village. I vaguely remember the words he heard when he was in a coma before leaving Konoha. As long as I stand here, Konoha is the number 1 Shinobu Village. He made it. Let Mabuyi send the letter to Konoha, saying it was a gift for Hokage. After a long silence, Raikage made a decision. This muddy water trip was missed because I was beaten in advance, which is definitely a blessing or a curse for Cloud Shinobi Village. And that superstition, in addition to showing that Cloud Shinobi Village did not participate, is more of an attitude. It is important to state your position. At least don't let the little devil run to the land of thunder to make trouble. Brother, you seem to have changed. Killer Bee scratched his head and said. It's not a change, it's a truth. At least for now, our Cloud Shinobi Village can only keep a low profile. Shaking his head, I sighed. The powerful Cloud Shinobi Village bowed his head for the first time, but there was no way for him. Killer Bee is still alive, and he is still alive. With them in Cloud Shinobi Village, they can recover their vitality steadily. This is the most important thing at present. After fighting the kid for the first time, he can be sure that the other party is definitely not the kind of person who likes to be passive. Retaliation has just begun. Jianzhang, you probably won't say that to me this time. Midarashi's house. Bajian's knife stuck in the ground, he opened his arms, and the maid next to him cleverly fastened his arms. The button of the Taoist suit helped him hang the wine gourd around his waist and then retreated to the side. But Itachi, squatted dumbly at the gate of the yard, blocked there. The meaning is obvious. Sorry Itachi, next time. He didn't want to hear such words anymore. Just like the last time he returned to Konoha, he was stunned when he wanted to follow Bajian to kill Anbu. Same as in the past. That kind of feeling he never wants to have. Stupefied, shaking his head, Bajian hit Zanpakuto, and took the long ears of the sleeping Kurama away. To the door. This time the nature is completely different from the last time, okay. To stun it, I just don't want to count Uchiha's conflict with Konoha. Right now, Konoha's new look is already different. Let's go, follow me behind. From today, Ninja World will tremble for Konoha. Only early in the morning. The morning sun has just risen. Konoha's atmosphere is warmer than noon. In front of the meritorious wall in the central square, more than 200 black figures stood neatly there. At the forefront of the team is Anbu's most elite team, the respectable Yi Xiao. Uchiha Shisui, Hatake Kakashi, Might Guy, Uchiha Itachi. And the one in the middle with a knife, a wine gourd hanging from his waist, and a sleepy little fox squatting on his shoulders. Known as Konoha Kenpachi's kendo genius, Yi Bajian. Only the elite of the elite can enter this team. Inside, even the junior Itachi made them admire them incomparably. They knew the intensity of Anbu's special training program. Although Itachi's age was young, it was a sign. Muttering, Bajian's gaze shifted from behind the wall of merit. Now the most excellent. The first is more. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Before this sword, everything is invincible. Kill. Gone. Retaliation plan, officially started. Frighten this uncle. The killing has begun. Code Ing. Ula. The blade rushed into the sky, Bajian took a deep breath and blushed. Said it was a meritorious wall, he was just checking his system panel. Kurama sneezed sharply on his shoulder, and Byakugan called to your sister in the morning. Ninjutsu, illusion, 2.2 physique, too strong as for Might Guy, they were a little surprised. The time has come for future generations to remember your names. The advanced task of unlocking Zanpakuto above is already time to complete. But to be able to enter the Night Owl, it must have its own uniqueness. Chapter 117 Is he the son of prophecy? When Anbu's black figure rushed out of the village, Minato at the entrance of the village looked at their back with emotion. Ms. Jiraiya, if you are here, does it feel like I do that the son of prophecy who changed the world as Bajian? Watching that figure drift away, Minato murmured. Well, I have to make sure. Huh, a figure fell beside him. Uninhibited connection and iconic oily forehead protector, tall man with clogs. Jiraiya, one of Sanin. Teacher of Namikaze Minato. He went back to the village. Are you back, teacher Jiraiya? The surprise came so suddenly, Minato looked up and down at his mentor. He has not changed much. The whole body is still full of free and easy temperament. This temperament is exactly the same as when Bajian was in a relaxed state. Once you enter the serious mode, the will to fight hard is very similar to that of Mr. Jiraiya. Fortunately, although they are teachers and grandchildren of Jiraiya, they don't have a lot of intersection. Otherwise, it might be damaged by Mr. Jiraiya. As Bajian's teacher, the 3 forbidden ninjas have not been taught properly, and Bajian has become addicted to alcohol. In case I can't think of being brought to that kind of fireworks club by Mr. Jiraiya at my age. I'm afraid it will go off track in the future. Yes, for the safety of chasing Orochimaru and the village, the latter must be more important. After a sluggish waste, Jiraiya, who seemed indifferent, had a look of surprise in her eyes. Konoha changed. Except for the meritorious wall in the center of the village, and the humiliation pillar where bloodline can be vaguely seen. The enthusiasm of rebirth makes Jiraiya quite novel. Konoha, what happened during the time he was away? Traveling these days, he heard some rumors about Konoha Kenpachi. But at first he didn't know that Konoha Kenpachi was the kid he met by chance. Until he saw the name and deeds of the other party on the merit wall, he was completely shocked. The little devil who used his own materials in the previous column has grown to this point. The frightening rapid rise seems a bit abnormal. He is good at analysis. Only those who are good at analysis can write the kind of red-haired book. After carefully observing Baji, he found that the connection between the imp and Konoha has gone from the indifference at the beginning to the integration now. All the reasons are in my disciples. But Yi Bajian's personality is completely different from the son of prophecy in his imagination. Facing his own people, he is a warm wind. Treating the enemy is cruel and outrageous. Decisive. More like the second Hokage Senju Tobarama. Konoha changed. Even the people he knew had changed. The teacher, Sarutobi Hiruzen, sat at home peacefully fishing and drinking tea, and wandering around in Konoha village, looking at the meritorious wall and Hokage rock from time to time. And Minato has become more assertive, more like a Naruto. What surprised him most was the change in Konoha village. The smile from the heart on his face cannot be deceived. As long as he stands here, is Konoha the first Shinobu village. What a self-confidence. Forget it, I want to have a good chat with him. The Orochimaru thing can be set aside first to change the prophetic son of ninja world. I am still a little unsure if it is him. Shaking his head, Jiraiya's figure chased after him. His purpose of coming back has slowly changed after seeing the boy. I was only worried about Konoha. After all, it is said that the village has just been attacked, and even Nine Tails has appeared. He was naturally back with Konoha's heart. But when he knew that what changed everything was that a child had already given birth to a strong interest. Toad Sage once said that one of his disciples will be the son of prophecy, and will become the key to changing the world of ninja. The disciple's disciple, that's his disciple. There is nothing wrong with this. Observe and ask him what he thinks of the war-filled ninja world. By Jing, it is his task to lead the growth of the son of prophecy. Running all the way, the faces of disciples appeared in Jiraiya's mind. From the very beginning, Uzumaki Nagato, Konan and Yahiko. Until now, Minato and Yi Bajian who just appeared. So far, these are all his disciples. Speaking of which, I also gave him an unreleased version of the unreleased version of Intimacy Paradise. I scratched my head, the book was too big to be reviewed. The advancing pace suddenly stopped. On the tree in front, the young man holding the knife was leaning there and waiting for him. Has it been discovered again? When he was peeping that day, he noticed something was wrong. It is not difficult for him to hide his breath. Since he was a child, he was better at this kind of voyeur, so he tried repeatedly. But now, he was found for the second time. Very powerful perception. Jumping in front of him, Jiraiya smiled awkwardly. What's up? Skillfully handed the wine gourd to him, Bajian asked calmly. The location of the Anbu 200 warriors has been determined, and the task has been assigned. After arriving at the designated location, spread out to obtain intelligence, and then choose the target of the attack, so for the time being, he does not need to follow the team all the time. Perceiving being tracked, he stopped to take a look. This is the second time he and Jiraiya have met. For the first time, he drank his own wine, which was considered an acquaintance. How old are you? Not the age of drinking. Pay attention to the 3 prohibitions of ninjas. Leaning on the tree with Bajian, Jiraiya said what he said when they first met. It's inappropriate for you to say that. 91 first. Bajian curled his lips. If the ninja 3 bans, the club master in front of me may have done all 863 in his teens. It's another name that I don't understand. The last time this kid called himself the yellow first cow in the pornography, gambling, and drugs. Now it is called Mr. 91Z directly. The strange knowledge has increased. This kid. Tilting his head, Jiraiya took a sip of Bajian's wine gourd. I heard that Minato took you as a disciple. You also became Naruto's brother. With curiosity, Jiraiya asked. If you think I am the son of prophecy, you may be disappointed if you go further. The only thing that can attract Jiraiya's attention is the son of prophecy. Minato had mentioned this to him before, and even he thought he was the son of prophecy. You got the wrong guy. Here does not have the legendary escape technique that the son of prophecy should possess. The mouth escape genus that transcends all blood inheritance boundaries and traps, and there is no sunshine that the son of prophecy should have. So, please go back, I still have a task. Lifting Zanpakuto, Bajian rushed forward. The son of prophecy. The trick of the toad pill is nothing more than to fool people. Bajian would not believe in prophesying such things. He only believes in his own knife. Cut, don't you say it's not it. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow and caught up again. Second more. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 118. Welcome to join Yi Xiao. Boy, don't go too far. On the border of the country of fire, on the way to Kurigakure. The team that has been advancing fast for a day is taking a break. The ninjas performed their duties, and the patrols were sent out in batches, and then they came back to report on the situation. Minister Baji and Minister Anbu lay comfortably under the tree, using the llama's soft body as a pillow. No way, he got used to the feeling of lying on the thighs of Anko and you wouldn't golem at home. You can find a feeling even if you use Kurama to deal with it. It's just that Ju, who was obviously treated as a pillow, didn't want to, and spoke his own opinion. Shish. Tilting his head, Bajian stretched out 3 fingers at Kurama. Okay, 3 bottles are 3 bottles. He happily slapped Bajian, and Kurama lay on the ground peacefully. It's just a kid's head, how heavy can it weigh? Besides, in normal times, it plays the most role as a pillow. Compared with the 3 bottles of drinks that make the tail beast fluttering after drinking, this kind of thing is nothing at all. Is that really a tail? How can it be like a dog? Under another tree, the members of the Night Owl team suddenly added a white-haired man. Very strange, but the white-haired man who resounded well in Konoha. Even after he came, he directly claimed that he would join the Yishao squad, and gave himself a codename called 91 Zixian. One of the legendary Sanin, Mount Myoboku Toad Sage Jiraiya. It is indeed 9 tails, although we don't believe it either. Kakashi next to him said with emotion. Jiraiya is considered his idol, and like Bajian, he is also his disciple and grandson. So the relationship is more intimate. Z% 1% at. Master Nine Tails has changed a little bit. Shisui nodded in agreement. Lord Nine Tails. The ears of the exclusive pillow moved slightly. This title is really comfortable. Squinting his eyes, Kurama expressed satisfaction. He also said that he is not the son of prophecy, and only the son of prophecy can be in harmony with the tail beast to this degree. Jiraiya sneered and put the ration pill in his mouth. The great toad sage once mentioned that the son of prophecy can even influence the tail beast, and the tail beast can let go of the hatred in his heart. This is exactly right. He will Rasengan not. With a cough, Jiraiya suddenly had an idea. Although it is an apprentice's apprentice, it is not personally passed on after all. In order to completely brand his disciple on the opponent, Jiraiya had an idea. Teacher Minato once wanted to teach Kanzen Rasengan, but he didn't want to learn. Quote. Itachi shook his head. I learned. He smiled awkwardly at Jiraiya, and Itachi reached out a ball made of chakra. The light blue light represents the purest chakra. The original Rasengan had no attributes. Wind-style Rasengan and Rasengan have essential differences. After adding the wind attribute chakra nature transformation, a weakened version of the spiral shuriken will also be formed. And what in his hand is just an ordinary non-attribute Rasengan. Muji, A-level ninjutsu, only ninjas who have perseverance and are extremely strong with chakra master can skillfully use this trick. But I may be a little stupid, I can't achieve the kind of chakra quality change that Jianzhang can do anytime and anywhere, and the skill of mixing fire attributes into Rasengan has not been completely mastered. With that said, Itachi Saping was a little annoyed, and slowly merged the fire attribute chakra into Rasengan in front of Jiraiya. But when the light blue Rasengan joined nature transformation and began to develop towards the fiery flame Rasengan, he disappeared with a bang. Are you stupid? The corners of Jiraiya's mouth twitched. Ms. Minato also taught me, but I was too lazy to learn, so I copied one. Kakashi uncovered his forehead protector and revealed the 3-gold jade. Then there was a Rasengan in his hand and gestured. What is this? Do you want to hit people like this? One who doesn't like to learn. A lazy, copy directly. The other was even more outrageous, saying that he was stupid, and then he came out with a ball and transported the fire accessories into it by himself. What are you doing? I didn't hit people like that. Well, since Lord Jiraiya wants to join the Night Owl team, I guess Bajian won't disagree. Shisui nodded. But Lord Jiraiya, the members of the Night Owl team must understand the basic combat effectiveness of each other so that they can have the greatest understanding in battle. What are the characteristics of your battle? Please tell me more. Does the team cooperate? At a young age, I have understood the importance of tacit understanding. Jiraiya, who recovered from the shock, felt a little bit. In the past, Orochimaru and Tsunade, he added, also understood this under the teaching of teacher Sarutobi. That's why he won the title of Konoha Sanin when he played against Hanzo of the Salamander in the Second Ninja War. But is it fighting power? Jiraiya slapped his chest boldly. He himself didn't expect to actually join a team. Also introduce yourself in a serious manner. At first, he just wanted to be in the team, and then observed that the young man named Konoha Kenpachi had something that the son of prophecy should have. But when he was sitting here and accompany the members of these teams to eat soldiers and grain pills, he suddenly realized that he seemed to be back to the days when he used to fight with Orochimaru and Tsunade. Although it is Anbu's team. But this team surprised him a bit. Anbu, isn't it the kind of darkness that lives in the sun? Even teacher Sarutobi said that his personality is not suitable for entering Anbu. But look at the funny guy in the distance who is clearly exercising while eating, and the ninjas around talking and laughing. It's not just Konoha that has changed. Is this really Anbu? At this moment, he had an idea of wanting to blend in. Well, just be a temporary team, let's see what he is going to do. Standing up, looking at Shisui, Jiraiya coughed. Ahem, this is a good question. Toad Sage is just my name to deceive the world. In fact, I am known to everyone in the southeast and northwest. One of the famous Sanins is a white-haired boy, a toad messenger, and a handsome guy who can shut up crying children instantly. Master Jiraiya touched his chin and scanned the peaceful ninja around. Jiraiya was a little embarrassed. Didn't say anything. I really don't know how to respect seniors. With a sigh, Jiraiya looked serious. If you are good at it, ninjutsu physique is decent, but the strongest. It's Shanshu. Humph, I haven't heard the Jiao say it. Shanshu is the natural energy that Bajian said. It's very strong. Shisui nodded, not surprised. Toad Sage is not ridiculous. I am better at illusion and body flicker technique, and I have Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi's words and swordsmanship have recently been picked up again. After entering the fighting state, they will attack Bajian head-on to create opportunities for me and Itachi. A guy is a physical specialty. After speaking, Shisui, Itachi, Guy and Kakashi, along with Bajian who squinted for a while, also walked. Put your hands together. Jiraiya's hand was also pulled up. Some furry claws were also mixed in. Several passionate voices came, causing the hero's blood to surge slightly. Welcome to Yi Shao. 3rd and 7th. Code wording. Thanks to all the readers who rewarded greatly. Thank you Tianwan for your 40,000 V dots. Reward. Nothing to repay, can only update more to maintain quality. Thanks for your support. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 119 The Real Peace is Made. A short break. The team advances again, the direction is still the country of water. Bajian's purpose is clear. He is going to Kurigakure to see the status of Yagura. The description of Kurigakure's blood fog policy in the original book is a bit rough. When will it be implemented? When will it end? There is only an approximate period of time. However, there is a signal that at this moment, Kurigakure is still implementing the blood fog policy. That is the age of Itachi. When Itachi joined the Akatsuki organization, it was after the extermination. At that time, his first partner was Loquat Juzo. He had done similar things with Bajian. One day in the future, facing the sober Yagura, he wanted to kill 3. When Tails was installed in the mobile toilet, the tailed beast bomb was also slashed. It's a pity that the decapitation knife is not Bajian's Zanpakuto after all. It's very fragile, and it was blown off directly. The broken beheading sword also split the Loquat Juzo in 2. In other words, Itachi's partner Hoshigaki Kisame, the real man, has not joined Akatsuki at this moment, and Obito has not found the identity of the other party. According to this signal, Kurigakure is still within Obito's control time. Check the status of Yagura. If he is still in illusion 597, Obito is still alive. If it is not controlled, there are 2 reasons. First, he did kill Obito. Second, I seriously injured Obito, and the illusion was forced to be released, but this probability is not high. After all, Bajian did not know what Yagura controlled by the illusion, and in the original work, Minato injured Obito, and Yagura's illusion was not released. After all, Nine-Tails' illusion was also relieved because of Obito's injury, and it does not rule out that the injury was too heavy and he was out of control. In short, it's not that Kurigakure's elder Yuenshi is in charge of the village at this moment, and Terumi-Mei does not have the upper position either. Did not reach the time when Xingyang Byakugan saw that Pale was controlled, but it should have been not far away in the past few years. Bai Jingqing has 1 Byakugan. If you look at it with your own eyes, you will feel more confident in your heart. And whether or not the illusion is lifted, it will not affect his plan. Jianzhang, the destination is already close. Kurigakure is located deep in the mountains, the territory is often covered by dense fog, and is completely isolated from other ninja villages. Along the way, the specially trained Anbu elites sneaked into the Kurigakure attachment without knowing it. Itachi took a closer look at the surroundings and then came over to report. What the hell are you going to do, AEFC? Jiraiya frowned and asked. If it's just an ordinary task, how can you get to this position? Kurigakure, known as the village of blood and fog, is moved by the cruel way of graduation. Having been in this environment for a long time, the villagers of Kurigakure have been tortured, and they are also the most rebellious ones. These are Jiraiya's understanding of Kurigakure. According to my information, Kurigakure's senior management and 4th Mizukage Yagura are both under control. The Bajian language is not surprising, and Jiraiya is stunned by one sentence. Also let the members of the Night Owl team stunned. If you think about it, you will know that no one who has truly inherited the will of shadow will implement a blood fog policy on his village. Bajian said calmly, there are many ways to compete, such as Konoha's wall of merit. Letting graduates fight against each other is a way of being a shadow. I don't know how cruel is it. The reason is very obvious, the blood fog policy is by no means the right way to cultivate good ninjas. Becoming a shadow is by no means a brain dead. So, our task is to inform the people of Kurigakure about this. Then liberate the village. Jiraiya's eyes lit up. It is worthy of being the son of prophecy, seeing the suffering people can think of saving each other. He also said that he was not. The kindness to the ninja world is obvious. It's still installed. A child who was burdened with destiny choices. I read you right, son of prophecy. Putting his arm on Bajian's shoulder, Jiraiya said with appreciation. You find the son of prophecy to have anything to do with me, Yi Bajian. Bajian glanced at him strangely, and then told his real plan. What we have to do is to put the right master in controlling Kurigakure in our own hands. To turn Kurigakure into Konoha's affiliated village, of course, the meaning of this affiliate will not be announced to the ninja world in a short time. After Konoha has completely digested Kurigakure, he is considering unification. The current Kurigakure executives are extremely fragile. We only need to move fast enough, and then find a shadow that can hold the ground and push it to the position of 5th Mizukage, and let her agree to our terms. The mission for Kurigakure is complete. When Bajian finished speaking in one breath, Jiraiya was stunned. It is not simply to rescue Kurigakure's villagers and ninjas, but to seize the power that Kurigakure was originally controlled. Is this his real ambition? Open your mouth. Jiraiya wants to say something, but Bajian didn't give him a chance. Please think about the reason why the ninja world has been in the chaos of war. There is no absolute authority, and it has never been unified. Control Kurigakure with the least cost, liberate the blood fog policy, and wait for the time to cooperate with Kurigakure to pressure other Shinin villages to achieve true peace. Do you think there is something wrong? Looking straight into Jiraiya's eyes, Bajian said calmly. It has nothing to do with power or reputation. This is his ultimate goal. Completely end the war and put the ninja world back on track. However, I always feel a little awkward. I still feel that if people understand each other. Jiraiya gave a wry smile. The other party said that his ambition and purpose are not hidden, and the ultimate goal is the same as the prophecy in the prophecy. End troubled times. But the method is a bit rough. I was just about to say the words of mutual understanding I got from Yahiko at the beginning to guide Bajian. Have you never killed anyone? Shisui, who was next to him, suddenly leaned over and smiled, and asked a question very directly. Isn't this nonsense? Jiraiya, who couldn't figure it out, was stunned and a little unclear. Therefore, he did not kill less in the Second Ninja War, and it was certain to fight the enemy as a ninja. You asked the parents of the person you killed, do you understand what you did? A very simple and rude question directly silenced Jiraiya. The purpose of killing is to protect the homeland. But those killed are also for the sake of a better life for the family behind them. Hatred starts here. Even the Second Ninja World War Konoha took the initiative to invade the Rain country. Nagato's parents were killed by Konoha's ninjas. I won't think about what you explain, just look at it with your eyes, the day peace comes. Bajian didn't bother to explain anything. At the beginning, he and Shisui had discussed the issue of peace deeply. Perhaps mutual understanding can really lead to peace. But Bajian, deny that view. Real peace is made, ready to act. With an order, 200 Anbu ninjas took advantage of the night and dense fog to sneak into this bloody village. The killing started. Fourth more. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 120 Killing Under the Night. Kurigakure. Since Seping adopted that brutal graduation method, this village has lost that kind of aura. Especially after night fell, the deadly atmosphere was suppressed terribly. Whoosh whoosh. Several figures passed by in the dark and went straight to the Mizukage building in the center of Kurigakure. The well-trained assassination troops demonstrated their due combat effectiveness at this moment. And as the elite of the elite. The speed of the Night Owl team is the fastest. The target is close. A cold light flashed in the dark night. Puff. The ninja guarding the Mizukage building didn't even see the enemy clearly, and fell down with a loud noise. In the dark, Shisui waved his hand behind him. A few figures rushed into the Mizukage building in an instant. It's time to taste the blood. The figure flickered, and Bajian, who was holding Zanpakuto, slashed at the Kurigakure guard in front of him and then went straight to Mizukage's office. As Minister Anbu, he has only one goal. Kill 4th Mizukage Yagura. As for the other members to clean up the trash fish. Reasonable with Yagura, and then threaten the other side to be a puppet Mizukage. No, Yagura was very young when he became Mizukage and was able to take over the work of 3rd Mizukage with his own wrist. This has shown his ability and loyalty to Kurigakure. The most important thing is that since the implementation of the blood fog policy, Kurigakure still carried out a brutal rule according to his ideas, until the Kurigakure coup lasted for many years. From this point of view, Yagura's most basic dominance and support are still there. That kind of person is not easy to force success, and it is also difficult to truly control. Kicked open the door of Mizukage's office, and Bajian saw Yagura sitting in a chair inside. The pupils shrank for a while, and his Zanpakuto had already turned up without hesitation. And since you can solve this problem more quickly in your own way, why waste Shisui's pupil technique? Jinchuriki can also perfectly control the power of the tail beast. Ps. The wrong chapter is 1000 words, less than 100 words are free, this chapter is 70. 0 words, will send 2 compensation readers with less than 1000 words. Code wording. That being the case, Yagura is still under the control of Obito illusion. Three Tails Jinchuriki. After all, his eyes are only Mangekyo, not eternal Mangekyo. Every time he uses his vision, he will lose sight. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Relatively speaking, he wants to give this opportunity to Terumi-mei even more. But a pair of eyes of each other, he can see from the confusion inside. Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods. Obito is still alive. Now Bajian has been thoroughly confirmed. This chapter is free. The pupil cooling technique used once in more than 10 years, Bajian will not use it on Yagura so easily. Chapter 121 Manipulated Shadow. Knife light flashed. Yagura, with only a trace of combat instinct left, blocked him with his weapon. Ding. Sparks of metal friction illuminate the entire office. Bajian's indifferent face appeared in front of Yagura, and the confused look of the other party had already confirmed Bajian's thoughts. Yagura, controlled by Obito's illusion, can't exert his fighting power at all. The weak force from his Zanpakuto is enough to explain this point. Ended. Click. With increased strength in his hand, Reiatsu stretched from the body to the blade, accompanied by a faint red light flashing across Yagura's weapon instantly. The wind belongs to the cutting of chakra quality, plus the sharpness of Reiatsu. If it is Yagura who can exert all his strength, he can resist it for a while after turning on the tail beast. But now blood gushing from the wound on the chest. At the time of frequent death, Fourth Mizukage's face showed a hint of relief and anger. But after all, there is no capital to resist. Weak and outrageous. Blood was splattering, and the pungent smell of blood in Mizukage's office was disgusting. And Bajian, blood-stained Zanpakuto, looked at the corpse in front of him, lost in thought. Yagura, who is controlled by illusion, is really weak and excessive, and it's good to be able to make some instinctive movements. You can't even make a tail beast. This weakness also made Bajian affirm his inner thoughts. Killer Bee said that the perfect Jinchuriki is not afraid of illusion. But now Bajian understands it, he can only say that he is not afraid of Urzu's illusion. Obito's Mangekyo has allowed Yagura to use illusion for so many years, which has shown that the resistance of this illusion is very limited. It is estimated that the two-pillar illusion is indeed weaker, so that Killer Bee can get away with it. Uchiha Madara also said that Sasuke's Mangekyo is a straight bus, and it strengthens the agility, and the illusion does not increase much. Perhaps, if Obito controls Yagura to fight here, the opponent's strength will increase a lot, but it is a pity that Obito is obviously not in Kurigakure, otherwise he would have jumped out a long time ago. Jianzhang, everyone on the list who needs to be caught has already been sent to the conference room. The one named Terumi-mei is indeed a bit difficult to deal with, but fortunately, Shisui's Nope Susan can handle her lava style. Behind him, Itachi with blood on his body panted and reported the situation. Everything is in the master. Bring him on, it will be useful for a while. Nodding, Bajian walked to the conference room in the Mizukage building. Reissue free Chapter 2. Code wording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 122 Pull down his eyes, that doesn't belong to Kurigakure. As Mizukage dead, outside the meeting room, Jiraiya looked at Bajian covered in blood and asked with a wry smile. Jiraiya, I know that you are kind, but your own character, he died, how many people will Kurigakure die? Bajian felt helpless. Kindness is not a mistake, at this point he appreciates Jiraiya like Naruto. But the two extremes of kindness and cruelty cannot appear in the same person. Want to change, sacrifice some people for sure. Winning Kurigakure will increase Konoha's powerful combat effectiveness. Even in the future unification wars, Kurigakure's participation in accounting changed the whole situation drastically. For Konoha, there are countless benefits. To some extent, Bajian's acting style at this moment is very similar to the dead Shimura Danzo. But he has more bottom lines than Danzo, and not as extreme as him. In what way? He will not do something he wants to do under the banner of the village. If someone really annoys him, he will kill that person directly. The reason is never for the village. Just because I want to kill you, then kill you. This is the Bajian style. Listening to Bajian's words, Jiraiya was even more confused. First, Shisui said meaningfully that they understand each other, but now everything Bajian does seems to make sense. He needs a time for acceptance and transformation. Without taking care of Jiraiya, Bajian pushed the door into the meeting room. The elders of Kurigakure and the high levels looked a little confused. This is necessary. Pulled out of the bed and slapped a few times, it is a problem not to be stunned. Only 3 sturdy people tied up in the corner remained awake. Great Elder Kurigakure. After Yagura died of illness, he had been in control of Kurigakure's regime until the Five Shadows talks, and Terumi-mei was appointed as the 5th Mizukage. The old guy is in good spirits. Although the scene is chaotic, he still maintains his calmness. The boldness alone proves that he is not that simple. The other two, one is the future 5th Mizukage Terumi-mei. The other is in the 3rd Ninja World War. The performance is extremely bright blue, wearing a blindfold to hide Byakugan. Frowning, Bajian pointed to Ching and looked at his subordinate, the member of the Hyuga clan named Lai. Pull out his eyes. Give it back to Hyuga Hiyashi when you go back. Pick your eyes when you come up. The surrounding Kurigakure high-level people watched this scene in a panic. It seemed that Bajian's actions would be so violent. Even more unexpectedly, the highest commander of the team that suddenly invaded Kurigakure was a kid. Little devil with a knife. Your Excellency is Konoha Kenpachi, the hero of Konoha village. Just at the moment of his death, Ching suddenly yelled. Konoha Kenpachi, a man in the ninja world this past year, led a surprise force to disrupt the rear of Cloud Shinobi village. He also captured the Jinchuriki of Cloud Shinobi village and hit the Eight Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee. In the same year, it was even reported that the opponent fought against Raikage and did not lose the wind. Together with 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, they captured the horrible legend of Raikage alive. Of course, no one will take it seriously. Compared with this news, they would rather believe that this is Konoha's bluffing god-making plan. In times of crisis, creating heroes is the usual method of Shinobu village. Pull. No more nonsense. Bajian spit out a word again. What? Heart-piercing screams echoed throughout the conference room. The elders looked left and right. The atmosphere was so scared that they did not dare to breathe, for fear that the demon would take their eyes off by the way. Lai's expression was ferocious, and an extra eyeball was already sealed in his hand. This is the eyes of the Hyuga sect family. Only the eyes of the Zong family will not be destroyed after the person dies. Guarding the clan is the mission of the branch house. Remember, this belongs to Konoha. You can get it, it's your ability. I can get it back. That's my ability. Under AECF, I don't want to see Konoha's things being shown off as trophies. Looking around, Bajian ignored the painful heart-piercing Ching and went straight to Terumi Mei and Yuan next to him. Finally, I set my sights on Terumi Mei. Waving his hand behind him, Itachi, who came in later, threw the body of 4th Mizukage Yagura in. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened and their faces were unbelievable. Master Mizukage is dead. How can it be? That's Kurigakure's highest combat power. They were caught just now, and they imagined Master Mizukage would defeat the enemy and save themselves. Right now, hope has been completely shattered. Your Excellency, do you want to start the 4th Ninja World War? Glancing at the corpse on the ground, Master Yuan spoke. The first sentence is a sentence that gives the other person psychological pressure. That's right. Infiltrating Kurigakure and killing Mizukage and spreading it out, the ninja world will inevitably be a mess. Although Raikage was caught by the kid in front of him and used it as a bargaining chip, Raikage was not dead, and it didn't take a few days to add up. But now, Mizukage is dead. The ninja who died in Konoha. Will Kurigakure's revenge Konoha be able to withstand then? First, I didn't let you talk. In response, it was Bajian's ferocious gaze that did not look like a human. He pinched Yuenshi's neck with one hand. Bajian's voice was as cold as hell. Secondly, you Kurigakure are not worthy of starting the 4th Ninja World War. Even if you can start a war, Konoha is not afraid. Otherwise, I won't come either. Not worthy. Humiliation, anger. All kinds of emotions filled Yuan Shi's eyes. In Kurigakure, he is a respected elder. Power is even comparable to Mizukage. But now I was pinched tightly by my neck. This kind of thing has never happened. At this time, Terumi Mei was still a teenage girl. Of course, for Bajian, she is still an old woman. In the compartment, Bajian sat on a chair and looked at each other. What are you talking about? Leaving a word, the teenager walked to the cubicle next to the conference room. The sharp eyes made Terumi Mei tremble. Third, I am very disgusted with you politicians, so please shut up before I let you talk, and whether killing Yagura is good or bad for Kurigakure, you know in your own mind, don't smile in your heart and cheat on your face. Attitude towards me. Code wording. The opponent's men can defeat and control themselves, let alone the legendary Konoha Kenpachi. You come with me. Terumi Mei froze for a moment, and finally hesitated to stand up and follow. Let's talk, old woman. No matter what he wants to say, he has no right to resist. Chat. Abandoning Yuenshi, Bajian looks at Terumi Mei next to him. Find me. 5th more. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 123 What kind of monster is Konoha? For a teenage girl, Terumi Mei's development is clearly overdone. And this kind of natural lamp is more natural than Tsunade's thick accumulation. Of course, the shape of the lamp is no different from Tsunade. Bajian just took a few glances with appreciation and then withdrew his gaze. Mizukage has been killed by me. Now, I will give you 3 choices. After thinking about it, Bajian threw Zanpakuto on the table and chose to express his thoughts directly. In the current situation, he didn't bother to analyze it piece by piece. Tell the other party the pros and cons directly, and I really don't agree that he is reselecting an obedient role. Kurigakure has a lot of ambitions. First, I will kill you, or catch you to Konoha as a maid for me. What option is this? Terumi Mei was stunned. If you want to talk, have a chat, isn't this option for you to die? It's a shame to think about being a maid. What about Konoha Kenpachi? She is a woman who aspires to be Mizukage and will never give in. Obviously, she didn't want to agree to this article. Mizukage has a lot of water, but it is impossible to be a maid. Secondly, I will make you the 5th Mizukage, the Kurigakure hero who cancelled the blood fog policy. What the hell is this second option? Compared with the first one, this option is also great, right? Terumi Mei, who was still immersed in anger just now, was stunned, and when she realized something was wrong, Terumi Mei frowned. State your terms, little man. You are smart, but you are not young. You haven't seen it before, so don't talk nonsense. Bajian smiled slightly. The condition is that from today onwards, I will be loyal to Konoha and regularly send materials and finances to Konoha. All major decisions in Kurigakure must be implemented through Konoha, so as to be completely transparent to Konoha. Become Konoha's affiliation, and stand on Konoha's side when Konoha launches a war of unification in the future, with full authority to Konoha to deploy all combat power. It's impossible. Don't think about it. Terumi Mei stood up angrily and pointed at Bajian. If it hadn't been for some kind of seal by the people who dealt with her before, and chakra could not mobilize, she would have spit out lava style to let this man understand what a loving kiss is. Listen to my third option. There was a cruel touch on Bajian's face. Say. The girl stared at Yi Bajian coldly. She swears that compared to this condition, she would rather choose the first one. Compared with betraying Kurigakure, there is nothing wrong with being a maid. Third, I force you to agree to the second. Calmly snapped his fingers at the door. Kakashi dragged Yuanshi from the meeting room with his heart. Huh. The sword fell with his hand, Yuanshi's head rose to the sky. Kill if you say it. There is no sign. The whole compartment was stained with blood. Next, dumping the blood on Zanpakuto, Bajian looks at Kakashi. You are a demon. Terumi Mei's heart-piercing voice came from the high-level elders in the cubicle, scared a lot of direct incontinence. Next one, didn't you hear it? As if he didn't hear Terumi Mei's words, Bajian frowned and looked at Kakashi. Master Yuan must die. A highly respected person, he said in Kurigakure, comparable to Mizukage. Such people are sensible, but they will only cause trouble to Konoha, and even gather their strength to resist Konoha in the future. From the moment he spoke, he accused Konoha on the basis that Konoha was about to set off the 4th Ninja War, knowing that he would never agree to this kind of reform. I agree. I choose to. Please, please don't. The moment Kakashi turned around, Terumi Mei finally made his choice. Tears fell on her face, and could not bear to continue bleeding in this already tortured village. Terumi Mei could only choose to agree. Clever. Nodding their heads, they took Terumi Mei's hand and walked towards the compartment door. And when he was about to leave the compartment, Bajian's voice suddenly calmed down. Okay, watch the changes in the ninja world, you will only be thankful for your choice in the future. It's a good choice. From now on, you will be my subordinate. Striding into the meeting room, Bajian took a deep breath. From today, Terumi Mei is Kurigakure's 5th Mizukage. I don't want to ask you who approve or oppose such boring questions. I just want to inform you of the result. Besides, she was also the hero who brought Kurigakure back from the blood mist and defeated the hero of Yagura. With lava style and boil style, he is also strong enough to be Kurigakure's Mizukage. After speaking in one breath, Bajian squeezed Terumi Mei's little hand. The team left you, don't forget your choice. If you betray me, the consequences will be disastrous. Letting go of the opponent's hand, Bajian took his own person and left the conference room. At this moment, the terrified Kurigakure executives focused their eyes on the young man's back. Strong enough to defeat 4th Mizukage. The momentum is so terrifying that people dare not resist. There is also the master's method of human heart. What kind of monster is Konoha? The man who mastered Kurigakure's political situation with the momentum of thunder, what will he do in the future? Ah, grief, and loss. The first two emotions are easy to understand. After all, my village must be upset. But the third loss has a deeper meaning. For example, some people wonder why the person being pulled into the cubicle is not themselves. If you are yourself, will you be transformed into Kurigakure's 5th Mizukage after you come out? Lost comes from this. Only Terumi Mei looked at Bajian with complicated eyes. What the man said before he left, made her wonder whether today's things were good or bad for Kurigakure. Become a subsidiary of others. But it solves Kurigakure's fundamental problem, and the village will regain its vitality in the future. Kurigakure, but one of the 5 ninja villages. Is it so easy? When the teenager left the conference room, he looked at him with a wry smile and didn't know what to say. I thought that the merits recorded on the merit wall were already the pinnacle of this child. I didn't know that he had just left Konoha and made such a big noise. Turn Kurigakure, one of the 5 ninja villages, into Konoha's subsidiary. This kind of thing, he didn't even dare to think about it before. Looking at Jiraiya, Bajian sighed and turned his head to tell Kakashi, take our people to observe outside Kurigakure for a day. You come with me. What is the so-called change? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Jiraiya sighed. He really didn't know. What are you doing here? I'm so sorry to everyone today, because the wrong book was passed on by hand, I beg your forgiveness. Fortunately, Jiraiya finally took it. Jiraiya asked suspiciously. Greeting the sunrise tomorrow, let you see the changes in Kurigakure. Otherwise, I can't get up. I'm really sorry, I'm sorry everyone 10. Waiting for the sunrise at the highest point of Kurigakure. At this moment, there is only confusion in his heart. Without saying anything extra, Bajian just passed the wine gourd in his hand to the other party. Bajian or Yahiko, who is right? Pulling each other's hands, the two finally came to the top of the Mizukage building. I wanted to add another one, but I have to get up early to work at home tomorrow, so I have to sleep. Hesitate for a few seconds. Sixth more. Chapter 124. I am even more convinced that you are the child of prophecy. Early morning. When the sun rose, the villagers of Kurigakure walked out of their room with anxiety. The movement of the fight last night was not big or small, so naturally they could also hear the calls from the tragic deaths of people. Although the ongoing process didn't last long, something must have happened. There was something vaguely wrong in the atmosphere in the village, and even the fog that used to surround Kurigakure was lightened a lot. Everyone gathers, Mizukage-sama has something important to announce. A piece of news flew into the ears of the villagers. Event. What major event is to be announced? Should we collect taxes again, or force our children to enroll in a ninja school? Obviously this is not the first time this happened. But cattle live in this village, they have no right to refuse. Yes, there is only obedience. Even those blood-bounded races who had problems with Kurigakure's senior management are all dead. The joint rebellion of the Ōtsutsuki clan and the Kei-Yoruichi clan, and even the Ghost Lamp clan, did not change the entire Kurigakure regime. It is said that Kagaya-kun Kimimaro, the last member of the Kei-Yoruichi clan who was imprisoned, also known as the Human Shield, also disappeared not long ago. 04. Except for the Wei-Yoruichi clan, the remaining Ghost Lantern clan and the Mizutsuki clan flee to death. With such a bloody result, what right do they have to resist this blood mist? Like zombies, people walked to the bottom of the Mizukage building step by step. The deathly waiting began. It's just that after Kurigakure's villager ninjas assembled, a beautiful scenery suddenly appeared on the high platform. Terumi Mei. At this moment, she is wearing a hat that can only be worn by Mizukage. Terumi Mei, announced as Kurigakure's fifth Mizukage. The blood fog era of Kurigakure is completely over. The Kurigakure graduation assessment system for mutual killings is cancelled. When the high-pitched sound mixed with a little excitement resounded over Kurigakure, the doubts and stiffness on the villagers' faces turned into tears of excitement and joy. They don't know what happened. But the result is more important to them than anything else. The fifth Mizukage Terumi Mei announced that the blood fog will be completely over from today. When the first cheers came, the atmosphere of the entire Kurigakure rose to its apex. People chanted Mizukage's name and rushed to tell. This kind of painting echoed with the sun gradually rising in the east. It seems that starting from today, Kurigakure will return to the light. No longer have to worry that your child will die in the place where ninjutsu is passed down. Enthusiasm, excitement, excitement. This is a new rebirth. See it. On the uppermost building of the Mizukage building, Bajian is lying on Kurama's soft belly and drinking alcohol. And Jiraiya next to him opened his mouth, and when people cheered, he was completely awake. If you are counting on it, discuss it with these people and tell them the generations brought by the title of Blood Mist. Price, let him reform. Then let him understand the pain of parents losing their children, will he understand? Quote. Taking another sip into his mouth, Bajian sighed. Some things have to be seen with your own eyes, otherwise you won't be able to understand each other. How difficult, even a little funny. Just like when the hero in front of him went to Rain Shinobi village to investigate intelligence, he didn't understand why Nagato would become that kind of truth. How important is personal experience? Nagato may have become a little nervous afterwards. But when Yahiko, who was like a brother, fell in his arms, his positive world was also. There must be something hateful in those who have collapsed the poor. However, hateful people also have pitiful places. How to deal with this kind of perception, Bajian has the standard in his mind. He can never do a sentence like Naruto, I forgive you, and then forget everything. That kind of open-mindedness. I understand. Jiraiya sighed as he looked at the people running down to tell them. When the kid next to him rushed into the conference room with a knife to kill the quartet, he thought everything was incorrect. And Bajian, it seems that Ping is really not the son of prophecy in his heart. But now, looking at Kurigakure's real changes, and everything he has done for Konoha, he adds. Strengthened the idea in his mind. Very contradictory but extremely real. Change what he saw. A village full of dead silence suddenly came back to life. This kind of thing is not something that everyone can do. Cut. Human beings are hypocritical. Li Lama, who was used as a pillow by Bajian, said disdainfully, I can eat and drink, and live freely. Now, when someone is bullied, someone will stand up to help. This kind of uncle is very satisfied, although no one can bully this uncle's strength. Free. Someone stood up when being bullied. Fetters. Jiraiya was stunned suddenly. I'm a big man, I haven't seen the tail beast thoroughly. Turning his gaze to Bajian, Jiraiya took a deep breath. I am more and more convinced that you are the prophetic son who changed the world. It's my business. Bajian frowned, then stood up disdainfully. The Kurigakure coup has ended. Starting today, one of the 5 ninja villages on the bright side will become a wooden Yi's attachment. After the end of the mission of the water country, the real time for revenge is next. Huh. A figure jumped up from below. Terumi May of Penultimate fell by Bajian's side. Now she is not as angry as she was last night, although her face looks a little tired, but energetic. Even from time to time, reform measures against Kurigakure will appear in my mind. After looking at Jiraiya, Terumi May's coughing eyes finally fell on Bajian's body. Thanks. 063. Although the voice is very small, these 2 words are still clearly passed into Bajian's ears. Say thanks to the devil who killed many people in Kurigakure. Such a person will be very comfortable if he becomes a subordinate. The most valuable of these 2 people's impressions is the faith of loyalty. As for Hoshigaki Kisame, I know that water style is very talented. Is this a great enlightenment? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The place where Kimimaro was temporarily banned seems to have been invaded. That person is no longer there. But after all, she found that after becoming Mizukage, it is so enjoyable to meet the admiration of the people below. Bajian said faintly, by the way, I want to let you have 2 people. Don't worry about thanking me, you'd better finish on time for everything you need to do every quarter. With 2 fingers outstretched, Bajian was aroused with intense interest. The second one, Hoshigaki Kisame, by the way, you betrayed your village Kurigakure's information on Watermelon Mountain. One regards Orochimaru as a belief, the other prefers death. The first one, Kagaya Kimimaro of the Teru Yoruichi clan. But speaking, it is still very awkward. The first is more. Frowning, Terumi May didn't understand what the other party meant for these 2 people. Code Ing. Ask for flowers and tickets. Kill the puffer fish ghost and give it to him. Kimimaro and Hoshigaki Kisame Chapter 125 Eye for Eye. Hoshigaki Kisame. I vaguely remember that when watching anime, the real man who's struggling to shred wood styles shackles with his last strength, and then let the shark out of summoning bite himself to death. 7 mulberries, maybe I am not useless. In one sentence, he explained the one of Hoshigaki Kisame. Before he died, he finally saw clearly what kind of person he was. It's just that the ghost now is a little confused. He has just graduated from the ninja school and is still waiting for Kurigakure's senior management to arrange tasks for him. But in a blink of an eye, Mizukage found him and told him about an extremely shocking mission. Sneak into Konoha and find out all the information of someone. And in the process, he will become a member of Konoha and belong to that person's deployment together. In other words, at this moment, his identity has changed. Stroking the muscle sword he had just started, Gui Zhao looked at the little ghost who was chatting with the white-haired man in the distance. Is he the one staring at? Even the reason for Kurigakure's reform is in him. All the Anbu ninjas around, as well as the legendary Night Owl squad, are his subordinates. This is shocking news. The strange pupils stared at each other. Kisame lowered his head. Compared with Joe's atmosphere of mutual dependence, I always felt that something was missing. Hey, we have dinner. At this moment, a voice came. Looking up, Kisame's distinctive shark gills shook. This kid is called Uchiha Itachi. I heard that he is Konoha Kenpachi's best friend. But sorry, until now, he hasn't seen what the opponent is capable of, and he can still play C-place in the Yishao squad. It's just a kid. I have brought soldiers and grain pills, thank you. Looking at the dry food in Ferret's hand, Kisame shook his head, took out the ration pill from the bag and ate it. Obviously, he still can't get in. Itachi didn't say anything, put the dry food aside and turned away. For the man with the shark face, he is only a little curious for the time being. You are going to find Tsunade. From a distance, Jiraiya looked at Bajian in surprise and asked. He just heard something amazing from this little devil's mouth. Go to Tsunade. If you can't go, beat it up and take it away. Who do you think Tsunade is? Turning over Byakugan, Jiraiya sighed. I know about Konoha Hospital. Tsunade's ability in medical ninjutsu is really outrageous. But Bajian, Tsunade's leaving the village is not clear in 1 or 2 sentences. I advise you to dispel this idea. It hasn't been long since Tsunade left Konoha now. This can be seen from the fact that Shizune and Kurenai Yuhi graduated at the same time. After Shizune graduated, she left Yi with Tsunade. Inferring the time, it should have been a few years after leaving the village. It's impossible to remember the pain in my mind for such a little time, so Jiraiya is sure that Tsunade will never would not agree to return to Konoha. I have my way. Standing up, Bajian didn't bother to explain. The reason why Tsunade left Konoha is well understood. Kato Dan's death is nothing but the most important thing. Nawaki was killed in battle, and the Senju clan gradually lost their voice. Loneliness and helplessness, as well as the incomprehension of Konoha, were the reasons she left. As for the real reason for the disappearance of the Senju clan, she should also be more aware of it. She has no respect for Sarutobi, and her name has been changed from Teacher Sarutobi to Old Man. But now Konoha's situation has changed drastically. Sarutobi Hiruzen has completely stepped down. Those who hide dead can't die again. The opinions on Konoha can disappear. As Konoha's Tsunade Heim, the position of medical minister has always belonged to her. Gotta try. And it will take time for the next revenge plan to unfold, take advantage of the preparation period in the middle, and find one by the way. There is nothing wrong with Tsunade. Regardless of Jiraiya, Baji called Kakashi and Uchiha Shisui. Dive into the land of the earth, investigate the source of all Iwagakure's affairs, travel methods, and execution. The peak periods of the task. The most important thing is to figure out each of their possible paths out of the village. Quote. Also, don't act rashly until I have passed. Land of the earth, Iwagakure. Is there the next goal? Kakashi nodded and went down with Shisui to spread the order. It's just that Jiraiya doesn't understand even more. To change Kurigakure, it's because Kurigakure is in the blood all year round and needs someone to stand up and change. Giving Kurigakure new life and vitality. During the mission, he also gained enough benefits for Konoha. But Iwagakure is not Kurigakure. Onoki's prestige is unmatched. The old man's blood continues. It is also terrifying to eliminate dust, especially different from Kurigakure. The upper level of Kurigakure is an iron plate, and Jinchuriki, who disagrees with Onoki's politics, has left the village. In this case, what is Bajian going to do? Not waiting for Jiraiya to ask questions. Bajian hit Zanpakuto and pointed at the sky, and a black and red sword rushed towards the sky. This is the signal of the assembly. Don't ask why you have to use the crescent moon, but there are many Reiatsu. Whoosh whoosh. In just 10 seconds, the 200 Anbus were assembled. This speed of assembly made the dry persimmon ghosts in the distance. Yao was stunned obviously. Standing awkwardly on the side of the team, he didn't know where he should go. Eventually, he was dragged to Yi Shao's most by Itachi. On the left, remember our purpose when we came out. Slapped Zanpakuto on the shoulder, Bajian took Nine Tails' ears and threw it to his chest. With two bangs, the llama's eyes were full of gold stars. Blood debt. Blood compensation. The violent roar made Jiraiya jump. Eye for eye. Is the purpose of going to the land of the earth just to kill people? Scatter. With an order, Anbu's ninjas shuttled through the forest. Soon after, only Bajian and Jiraiya, two people. Let's go, good, and answer your reasons on the road. Bajian didn't know where Tsunade was, Duanji Street or Unokuni. But Jiraiya travels outside all the year round and always knows some large gambling venues. And the veteran gambling dog Tsunade will definitely appear in that place. So let Jiraiya lead herself to find Tsunade is a very wise choice. The soldiers are divided into two ways. Anbu Ninja heads to the land of the earth, and Bajian and Jiraiya embark on a journey to find a luxury car. 3 days later, in a town adjacent to the water country. The silhouettes of Bajian and Jiraiya with swords attracted most of the attention. Glancing at Jiraiya next to him, Bajian sighed and stopped on the roadside bench and sat down. You have the time to figure out what is in my heart. Do you write more small h writing? It's really not good. Clubhouse around. Quote. Thinking so tired. Are you tired? The second more codeword ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running.